Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Goodness, that's a walk and a half. That was Regina King's epic power walk at the Oscars last night in that jaw-dropping Louis Vuitton dress. Come on now. Welcome to DBL. It's Monday, April 26th. I'm Tori here with Lindsay and Al. Good to see you both.
What's going on?
Good to see everyone. Such a good walk, right?
She looked fierce. Every part of it was
everything.
good.
So let's talk about the Oscars, all right? There was a bunch of big changes, we know. It was shot like a movie. The speeches were much longer, and of course, there was a new venue. It was a train station in downtown Los Angeles. So I just want to get your overall impressions. What did you think worked? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Al, I love your suit.
Well, thank you.
Talk to me.
I dug it. You know, I know a lot of people have problems with just award shows in general. We're figuring it out as we are in this current, almost post-COVID world. And honestly, I know a lot of people disliked it, but I'm like, why don't we use this as incentive for people to get the vaccine? It's like, did you hate this? Okay, if everybody gets vaccinated, we all get together and have the real one. So overall, I'm grading everything on a COVID curve, so I dug it.
COVID curve, you liked it. Lynn?
I thought it was awesome because I like the creativity. I told you that Zoom is my least favorite thing. I'm not doing one more thing on Zoom. So this was like a good thing. And they actually been failing Zoom at some other award shows, or failing the technology. So this was a chance to actually see people in separate locations, and I really liked how they organized everything.
I hate to agree with all of you, but I thought it was the best award show of the Zoom world, right, of what we've seen. I thought when they introduced the people and told them little background information about, like, they saw E.T. or they ripped tickets in a movie theater, I thought that, like, made me cry.
I'm like, maybe just like everything with this current Zoom world and the post-Zoom COVID world that we're going to inherit, maybe we take one or two things from this award ceremony. Like every year we have a walk-in like that from just somebody. Right. I think that would look really cool.
Give us some more background info.
And I kind of like the movie kind of storyline because it makes you want to pay attention more and not leave and come back like, why are they showing this? Like, oh, you should have paid attention. So I think there's something to this.
There's something to this. All right, now we're not in the majority for a lot of you. A lot of you were slamming last night's awards for what appeared to be a huge snub. Now, in case you missed it, let me set it up for you. For the very first time ever, this was huge. The order of the awards were changed, and the last award of the night was for Best Actor. Now, a lot of people hoped, and really I thought for sure would, that Chadwick Boseman was going to win a posthumous award for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now, his win would have ended the show with a really emotional speech by his widow, but instead, Anthony Hopkins won for The Father, and he wasn't even there. This morning, he posted one to Instagram. Take a look.
At 83 years of age, I did not expect to get this award. I really didn't. I want to pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman, who was taken from us far too early. And again, thank you all very much. I really did not expect this. So I feel very privileged and honored. Thank you.
So that was a big wah-wah. I mean, it's not easy when you end the Oscars with Joaquin Phoenix say, we'll accept this award on his behalf. Bye.
Right, but he's 83 years old, so expecting him to come and be around anybody, even if it's one person, is a lot to ask. I know that he got to travel to maybe see some family, but it's like, how do you feel about them giving Chadwick Boseman the award if they genuinely didn't feel like he did a better performance than Anthony Hopkins? It's like weird because, of course, that's expected, right? He passed away, and his wife has been doing a beautiful job of representing him at all of these award shows, but it's like, are we going to continue to do this just because we have to, or is this actually who we feel like deserved the award? Because even my mom and I have a conversation that we think Chadwick Boseman had other movies that he should have been recognized for more than this movie that he's been recognized so much for, and maybe a lot of it contributed to him passing away.
Oh, that's really interesting. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, I look at, just what a terrible turn of events it was because we lost Chadwick and we lost Kobe within a couple months of each other. And I think about, as a diehard basketball fan, what if the NBA posthumously awarded Kobe the MVP for that season, even though it was his last season and he wasn't the MVP or anywhere close that season. Other seasons he was and he won. Would it have meant as much? Would that be almost disrespecting how they lived and how Kobe lived? Because Kobe would not want that. He would not accept that. So just because we want something for our storybook ending doesn't mean that that's how it should have gone. And I looked at another actor in Anthony Hopkins paying tribute to a brother, somebody else that is an actor that knows what it's like to audition and fail and get roasted for a bad movie. And I feel like there's something. Sorry. Listen.
First day on the job, Al.
I don't know how to turn this stupid thing off.
No, you do it. It's 2021.
No, my girl put the tile on my keys so I won't lose them.
Well,
like
your ring is very 1991.
And it goes off all the time, and will somebody help me?
Wow. We all need help, but Al needs the most. A lot of people were also commenting that last night was the most woke Oscars ever. A lot of the presenters and award winners, including Regina King, the singer Her, and the filmmakers for Two Distant Strangers, brought up social justice issues, specifically police brutality and Derek Chauvin. Plus, there were a lot of historic firsts. Chloe Zhao became the first woman of color to win Best Director, and just the second woman ever to win the award. Catherine Bigelow won, of course, for Hurt Locker. That was for the movie Nomadland, which won Best Picture. Mia Neal and Jamaica Wilson became the first ever black stylist to win for Best Makeup and Styling for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And Ye Jung-Eun became the second Asian woman and the first ever Korean to win an acting prize. She won Best Supporting Actor in Minari. So Oscars So White became a thing in 2015. Does this award show prove how far we've come, right? Does it feel like we've all gotten better better? Is it tokenism? Does it feel out of touch? What did you guys feel? Linz?
I mean, I loved Mia Neal's speech about how she just said, you know, we're going to see transgender women, we're going to see Asian women, we're going to see indigenous people up here, and it's not going to be a surprise. It's not going to be unexpected. It's going to be normal. And that's the moment that I'm waiting for. I think that in order to get there, we have to have moments like this where we're not calling out the Oscars for the entire segment and they just do the right thing. And so I think there are people of color, of all colors, that are really doing great work. And so we recognize a lot of them yesterday, and I think that's the start. And hopefully it becomes something that's very normalized.
So you felt good about it? Mm-hmm.
Look, it's a start, like Lindsay said, and I don't want us to throw out, everything because things aren't moving at the pace that everybody would like them to. Like you said, it's from 2015 when that hashtag was trending. The reason it trended is because it had traction with people. It made sense to people. If I tried to send that out right now, it would get some, but it wouldn't get as much because I think we're all seeing that this is progressing. So I'm all for progress. I am a progressive, so I will take this in stride, and hopefully in 5 years, people won't even know what people were talking about when that hashtag was going on because we've come so far. So that's my goal.
Nice. And you know what else is progressive? That jacket. Coming up on DBL. More Oscars talk. Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner. Join us to break down the night's biggest moments, and Tyler Perry gets mixed reviews. Why his speech meant to unify may have actually caused more division. We'll talk about that coming up. Y'all are already doing it on our feed. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
The Verify team is here to get you the facts by taking your questions to the vetted experts. And with a new administration, there's new talk about DC statehood, an idea that's been around for generations. So let's verify. With Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the White House, is there a path to statehood with a simple majority? Our sources are the Senate Rules, the Congressional Record, 51 for 51, an advocacy group, and Alan B. Morrison from the George Washington University Law School.
Do you think this is a real thing that could happen now?
Yeah. Morrison explains that in the Senate, you typically need 60 votes to pass a controversial bill. That's because of the filibuster. Any senator can demand a debate and essentially block a vote. Only 60 votes can stop the filibuster.
The Senate will be in order.
Then came this landmark vote in November 2013. Senate Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, used the so-called nuclear option for the first time. This eliminated the filibuster and made it a simple majority vote for nominees in the executive and the judiciary, except for in the case of the Supreme Court. 4 years later, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the nuclear option yet again, this time for the Supreme Court, requiring just a simple majority for nominations.
And that would be the same for statehood. They could simply change the filibuster rule and say the filibuster rule does not apply to applications for new states. They could do that in a stroke of the pen.
So we could verify that yes, the Senate can change the rules to get rid of the filibuster, allowing statehood with just 51 votes. But the question is, will they try to make such a change? Even some Democrats have come forward and said publicly that they're against this type of rule change.
There's no question they have the power to do it. The question is, do they have the will and the votes?
With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. A lot of you were writing me about this moment last night at the Oscar Awards. That's got a lot of you talking. Tyler Perry was awarded a humanitarian award, and his acceptance speech called on everyone to, quote, refuse hate. Take a look.
How can I hate you when I had a mother who grew up in a Jim Crow South in Louisiana? My mother taught me to refuse hate. She taught me to refuse blanket judgment. And in this time, and with all of the internet and social media and algorithms and everything that wants us to think a certain way, the 24-hour news cycle, it is my hope that all of us would teach our kids, and not only to remember, just refuse hate.
But there was one part of his speech that did light up Twitter, and while mentioning a number of groups that have been disenfranchised, he also included the police. Here's what he said.
I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LGBTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian.
One person on Twitter said police officers are not an oppressed group. No one hates the police because of undue prejudice. It's because they engage in state-sanctioned violence against all of the groups Tyler Perry said we shouldn't hate. I will admit, when he said police, it popped up. I was like, what? Because all the others were a marginalized group and the police are not. What did you guys think? How did you feel? Lindsay, what's your first thought?
Well, I love Tyler Perry. I think that his work and what he does for people speaks for himself. So that's why I hate to even bash him, because I think what his idea was that we're bringing people together, and I'm trying to create a moment where we should all come together and be fighting on the same side for this historic moment we are in history. But I think when you say stuff like Blue Lives Matter, you know, we're talking about disenfranchised groups versus police, and the problem is that blue lives have always mattered, right? And so the police have always been the group that was the oppressor to the oppressed. And so, you know, it's just kind of weird to say that we're putting them in the same group because, you know, police identity has trumped black people identity for years, or Asian people, or a lot of people that haven't been protected by these officers. So I think that's why people are frustrated with this tying it in, because it's not that simple. And that's why sometimes we hear police officers screaming out Blue Lives Matter, like we know that, because a lot of times you guys are protected in ways that people of color are not.
Interesting take. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, and I mean, Blue Lives Matter is definitely, that was only created in opposition of Black Lives Matter. So we know what time it is when we hear that. I think we need to unpack this a little bit and understanding that both things can be true, because you look at, did Tyler Perry misspeak? And I don't want to speak for him misspeaking, but I believe he did. I think the list that he listed were people that were marginalized, and I think what he was trying to say, maybe in a ham-handed way, was I refuse to make a snap judgment about somebody if they're wearing a uniform. That did not come out well at all. I think he would say that. But for all the people coming at Tyler Perry on Twitter, I'd say, what do you think his Twitter looked like 10 years ago when he was being attacked for being a black man wearing a dress in movies, and how he was dragged, and how he did not let that deter him from us highlighting how he buys gifts for people every Christmas and goes and takes the layaway list off at Kmart. So in life, I want to be judged the way I judge you guys, and how you guys sit in my life. It's like I look at the scale of good and bad. And is it going to be all this and all that? No, but I think there's a balance, and I think if anybody, Tyler Perry is weighing real heavy on the side of good. I
agree, and I thought the rest of the speech was absolutely fantastic. All right, let us know what you think, because y'all had a lot to say. We'll be right back.
New research suggests getting too little sleep can increase your risk of dementia. Let's connect the dots. The link between poor sleep and dementia is nothing new, but what was not clear was whether that lack of sleep was a symptom of cognitive decline or one of the causes. Now, a large new study suggests that people who don't get enough shut-eye in their 50s and 60s are more likely to develop dementia later in life. The study was published in the journal Nature. It followed nearly 8,000 people for decades. Researchers found that people who regularly reported getting 6 hours or less of sleep on weeknights were close to 30% more likely to be diagnosed with dementia nearly 3 decades later. That's compared to people who reported getting 7 hours or more a night. So how can you catch more Z's? While doctors say sleeping pills are an okay temporary solution, they don't give you the deep sleep needed. Also, naps are okay, but also a sign you are not getting the shut-eye you need at night. Instead, keep a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed, and keep the phone and screens out of the bedroom.
Last night marked the 93rd Academy Awards ceremony, and earlier, longtime friends of ours from Entertainment Tonight joined me, Jeff, and Al for a recap of the night's most memorable moments. Take a look. And joining us for a behind-the-scenes take is none other than friends of the show, Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier, and new co-host Mazel Tov, Nichelle Turner.
Congrats.
Welcome back, Kevin, and congratulations, Nichelle. Now, Kevin, this year's Academy Award was unlike any other, and I just want to know your overall impression. Did you love it? Did you hate it? It was very Steven Soderbergh. Talk to me.
We are hoping that this is the end. This is the last pandemic award show.
Please.
Please.
Seriously.
Because we need to get back to normal.
Right.
Y'all, get your vaccination, wear your mask. We want to get back to the red carpet.
We definitely do. I mean, you know, we love, it's the pageantry of it all is never lost on us, and especially that night at the Oscars. And so it did feel a little lackluster last night. However, may I say that when Regina King strutted on in there at the beginning, I loved it.
Me too.
I loved it. She was in that blue Louis Vuitton with the sequins,
with the
and
shoulders.
she was walking, honey. She was. Yes, let me see you walk, Regina. And then she almost took a tumble, but she recovered. And then we had the show. Now, there were some moments in the show, right?
Yes.
I mean, there were a few moments in there that captured our attention at least.
Well,
and,
you want to start with the end and work our way back?
Okay, well, let's start with the end.
Okay.
Because the end was something that was unexpected. They shuffled the deck, and they put the Best Actor award last instead of Best Picture.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that Chadwick Boseman was going to win that award. And when Joaquin Phoenix opened up the envelope and he said, Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, my gosh.
And then he said, Anthony Hopkins isn't here because Anthony Hopkins was in Wales.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya was amazing in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Best movie of the year in my estimation.
Amazing movie.
When he won the Oscar, he just kind of went right or left.
Listen, he gave us the moment. He had a passion speech. It was really great. He was so excited. And then he decided to talk about the birds and the bees.
Please watch. Just watch.
Like, it's incredible. My mom met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing. Like, do you understand? I'm here. You know what I mean? So, I'm so happy to be alive. So I'm going to celebrate that tonight.
Daniel, have you had a chance to talk to your mom yet? Has she texted you yet?
Bro. No, I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit, mate. Trust me. I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit. I think my mom's not going to be very happy.
What does this mean to you, and what...
I got to give him a question. Like, he didn't really have... let him have another one, man.
Thank you. Hey, have you had a... what does this mean
I can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me now?
He's muted. Can you unmute him? Kev, I tried, bro.
I appreciate
you.
It's
the enemy of progress, bro. I'm trying, bro.
That moment is the entire 2021 award season in one interview. That was it. That tells you everything you need to know.
Can you hear me now? Can't hear you, bro. Can you hear me now?
Let's talk a little about diversity. Yeah. Do you guys think it was represented yesterday? Because in the past, the Academy has been criticized. What'd you think of last night's show as far as diversity goes?
I thought what was important is not the big categories, but the smaller one. Live action, documentary, Trayvon Free, hair and makeup. You saw the first two African-American women to win in that category in history. 33% of the voting members are now women. 19% are underrepresented community. So it is changing slowly but surely.
Do you have a favorite moment of the night?
Oh, please tell us. Yeah.
Glenn Close didn't win an Oscar, but Glenn Close got an invitation to the barbecue. And that is because Glenn Close laid it all on the table. She gave a shout out to Sugar Bear, and she got up and did the butt. It was beautiful. Take a look at this moment.
I said, come here, big girl, let's rock my world. So
okay, you know, stop. That's not fair to Glenn Close. She don't know nothing about
Wait a second. I know that's the butt.
Do you know the dance, though? Do you know how to do the butt? Quest, turn up. Come on, let's see it. Let me see you do the butt. Let's see it.
Now, it was a skit. It was a skit that was planned, but they didn't plan the dancing. No. The dance was not planned. And I think that skit proved one thing that was very important. What, Nichelle Turner?
We need a host of the show.
I know what you mean.
They need to have a host.
I totally know what you mean. And at first I was like, wow, Glenn Close knows a lot about debut. And then I was like, wait, this is totally scripted. I totally agree with it.
I'm sorry, you guys. I have to push back on all four of y'all right now, okay? I never thought coming up, going to college in the mid-'90s, that I would hear DC Go-Go, EU, debut at the Oscars. Like, come on, guys. You have to be, like, I was just so happy to see this music be played. And also, Glenn Close, she definitely dated two black dudes in college. She did. It wasn't a long time. It was
Let me say,
not one but two.
As somebody who went to the Capitol Center to see EU and Rare Essence and Trouble Funk before back in the day, it just made me happy. I was giddy. I was giddy.
It was amazing.
Little Benny and the Masters.
Yes.
He said she dated not one, but two.
Two black.
Two, and she's invited to the cookout. Well, Kevin Frazier.
They're going to call her tonight. They called her tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner, thank you so much for joining us today. And don't miss Kevin and Nichelle every night on Entertainment Tonight. Great friends of the show.
Guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We always love joining
We'll be right back. Bye, guys.
Joining you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
What do we know about the anti-COVID-19 drug Israel is developing? Our sources are the National Institutes of Health, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases specialist at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Nayor Barzev, also an infectious diseases expert from Johns Hopkins University. First, our experts say you need to understand how COVID-19 makes people sick. The virus gets into the body.
Our immune response starts to fight the virus and then causes a lot of collateral damage.
This out-of-control immune response can damage organs, and in more than 500,000 cases here in the United States, it's caused death. Enter Israel's new drug with the catchy name XO-CD24, a treatment that patients would just inhale.
The concept here is that we're using an immune modulator to dampen down some of the T cells that are responsible for the cytokine storm that we sometimes see in severe disease.
In other words, the new treatment in theory would calm down the immune system.
So our own immune response does not injure our own lungs and other organ systems.
So where is this drug? Researchers in Israel just completed the phase 1 trial with good results. They tested on moderate and severe cases, but...
So I think it's too early to say anything certain about it, but it's encouraging that we have a product that potentially can reduce disease severity, and that is going to be making its way through rigorous trials and evaluation.
So how could this drug potentially come to the United States? Our experts say it follows the same path we saw the vaccines follow, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and if those prove to be successful, that data will be sent here to the FDA for review. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. There's so many benefits to exercise, including brain health. We're chatting about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness, presented by QB. Now, a new study shows older adults who are active have better cognitive health. That includes memory, learning, making everyday decisions. The study also found that anyone experiencing early stages of cognitive decline, like dementia, should actually be putting a focus on physical health. Staying active is so important, and QB has made it easy, regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. We got some comments, y'all.
Okay.
Okay, Owen says the whole show is politically motivated. Interesting take from Facebook. Carrie says the best part of the show was Regina King's entrance. Was amazing. Kim said, I like what they were trying to do. The introductions of the nominees were much more meaningful, but it lacked humor and entertainment. I hate when they cut off the speeches, but many of these went on for too long. Yeah. I also thought there was no musical numbers, so that also kind of stops the entertainment of that. Barbara says Tyler Perry was speaking about hate, and there's definitely hate towards police officers. I didn't have a problem with what he said at all.
Good.
I thought when they say separate politics from these award shows, I get it, because sometimes you don't want to turn on the TV and watch about people talking about issues with society when you're watching entertainment. But it's like hard to separate the two because these are people living lives outside of what they do for work. So it's really hard not to talk about it.
I also have to say that when you talk about art, politics and all of that, I know this is going to sound a little nerdy, that's intertwined. If you don't know what art can do for politics and what it can do for change, art is included in that. And I don't think it's just because they're actors or sound engineers, they don't have a right to say what they want to say.
And also, our last president was a television game show host. So, you know.
Take it there.
He was a television personality. Ronald Reagan was an actor. Like, we can't act. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura, all these people get into our hearts and minds because we look at them every day and we espouse to be like them. So you can't then say, like, we can't have that. We already have it.
We already do. Do you want your phone to ring one more time or no?
That was hurtful. Okay. I just want to find my keys so I can be on time.
DBL is new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, y'all.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
This year's Oscar winners made history, but a surprise snub is what has everyone talking. Did the late Chadwick Boseman deserve to win Best Actor? Plus, Tyler Perry's powerful speech.
I would hope that we would refuse hate.
Daniel Kaluuya shocks his family with this hilarious on-stage moment.
My mom met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing.
Then, the return of the award show red carpet. We've got the best looks from the night, plus Hallie's new hairstyle. We're talking about it all. And this supporting actress winner steals the show.
Mr. Britt, speak finally. Nice to meet you.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Awe of Regina King's epic power
You are
walk
not.
at the Oscars last night in that jaw-dropping Louis Vuitton dress, by the way. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, April 26th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. That's not Tori. That's Lindsay Granger. I'm so sorry. I was just reading the teleprompter. My love. Hello, Lindsay Granger. Okay, so let's talk. Hey, let's talk about the Oscars. There were a bunch of big changes. It was shot like a movie. The speeches were much longer. And of course, there was a new venue. It was at a train station in downtown Los Angeles. So what did you all think? Did it work? Let me start with Lindsay, since I got your name wrong. Lindsay. And you know it wasn't intentional. So when you saw the Oscars last night, considering, I mean, we just showed you that intro with Regina King, right? It visually looked starkly different from all the other Oscars that we're familiar with.
Yeah, I thought it was like weird in a good way. So we had directors creating what we're looking at instead of like watching the classic Zoom videos that we've been watching over this whole award season. And I really, as somebody who's not a huge fan of award shows in general and definitely not over Zoom, thought this was really impressive. And they did the best with lemons that this pandemic has given us. So I was actually really impressed, and I liked especially the walk-in from Regina King. That was awesome.
I like the lemons reference and the Regina King walk-in.
She was fierce.
I liked it. It was very Reservoir Dogs, very Pulp Fiction. You know, so I love that. I love the way they started. So I don't want to be like that artsy guy, but visually, I don't know if people appreciated how great that was shot at home. There was one specific one where they came like through a bush, and then you saw the presenter and then the crowd, and it was almost like you were backstage. So stylistically, Soderbergh knocked it out of the park. Some of those speeches got a little bit long for my liking, but overall, I thought it was pretty cool, especially how they told like little stories about each person. I love anything behind the scenes.
What about without a host? I agree with everything else, or with everything now.
Wow.
Everyone's
What's
name.
going on down there, Frank?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I agree with everything that you just said, Jeff, minus the fact that I missed a host. I like to have a host. Am I wrong with that, Al?
And you can just call me what's his face. You know, honestly, Sam, I think that I'm hoping that, you know, I know Jeff said that the speeches went too long, and I'd agree with that, and a lot of people would. But I think that there's so many nuggets from here that we can take and use, and I want to see it shot like this. I like the movie aspect. I like the idea that everything kind of links together, because I think that even though they're competing movies, they all have similar origin stories in terms of like the people that were behind the camera and in front. I liked it like this, so I hope that we kind of keep this, and maybe even when we're back into a live audience situation, we keep the movie aspect. So I was here for it.
Me too. I didn't think I'd like it. I loved it. Okay, so but a lot of you were actually slamming last night's awards for what appeared to be a huge snub. In case you missed it, let me set it up for you, okay? So for the first time ever, the order of the awards were changed, and the last award of the night was for Best Actor. So a lot of you thought, and you hoped, that Chadwick Boseman was going to win a posthumous award for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. His win would have ended the show with an emotional speech by his widow, but instead, Anthony Hopkins won for The Father, and he wasn't even present to give a speech. This morning, he posted one to Instagram, though. Take a look.
At 83 years of age, I did not expect to get this award. I really didn't. I want to pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman, who's taken from us far too early. And again, thank you all very much. I really did not expect this. So I feel very privileged and honored. Thank you.
What a class act, Lindsay. It was the birds chirping in the background for me. That's what did it. But you know, so many people, Lindsay, are slamming him for not showing up. He's 83 years old. Does he really have to show up? We're in the middle of a pandemic. What did you think about that, Lindsay?
Yeah, I totally understand why he wouldn't want to show up. I think it's an option right now, and a lot of people are even saying that award shows happening in person is problematic for so many people that are struggling through this COVID pandemic. But I do think that it's interesting because, you know, on the one hand, every award show that we've seen for the most part honoring films and TV has honored Chadwick Boseman in some way. And so since the Oscars didn't, people were really bashing it and really upset. But I do think that they have to stick to whatever they thought was the best movie. And even as a huge Chadwick Boseman fan, I don't know that I thought that was his best film ever. And I haven't seen all the other films on the roster, but you know, a lot of people said he should have got the award just because he passed. And although I love him so much, you know, it's just like they had to do whatever they chose to do in voting. And so I don't agree with the sentiment of just giving him the award because he passed, because he's a phenomenal actor that should have won an award many times prior to this.
Well said, Lindsay. Okay, so a lot of people were also commenting that last night was the most woke Oscars ever. A lot of the presenters and award winners, including Regina King, the singer Her, and the filmmakers for Two Distant Strangers, brought up social justice issues, specifically police brutality and Derek Chauvin. Plus, there were a lot of historic firsts. Chloe Zhao became the first woman of color to win Best Director and just the second woman to win the award. That was, of course, for the movie No Man Land, which was Best Picture. Mia Neal and Jamaica Wilson became the first ever black stylists to win for Best Makeup and Styling for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And Ya Jung Ewan became the second Asian woman and the first ever Korean to win an acting prize. She won Best Supporting Actor in Minari. So here's the question, DBL Nation. We want to hear from you. We always do. Oscars so white. You guys remember that hashtag, right? It was a thing in 2015. Does this year's award, in your opinion, prove, this year's award show, prove how far we've come? Does it feel like things have gotten better? Al, is there progress here?
I mean, I think the list of names that you just read tells us that it has. I think that it's so weird that we push for a change and we push for things to progress, and people listen, people agree, and it starts to happen, and we see it with the list you just read, and we still question, well, why is this happening? It's like, no, a lot of people feel like this. A lot of people feel like we should start to highlight everybody, no matter what your gender, how you identify. And so I'm here for it. I'm really happy with how things are going.
I love the inclusivity because it gives kids at home something to look at, right? It's like, that could be me one day. Even, I'm 42 years old, I still dream, right? And I look at those presenters, just like you're reading those names, Sam, I thought of last night, I'm like, I could give those presentations one day. And then they started reading some of those names, I'm like, maybe I can't. I could always dream. I could always dream. So it gives other people from everywhere something to look at and dream about.
Representation does matter, but I have to ask you, you're in, because I know you write down goals every year. You want an Oscar one day?
I mean, I wouldn't shoo it away. Yeah, it would take one.
Really hard-hitting question, Sam. Hit him in the corner there.
Do you want $1 million? Yes or no? Be honest.
Who doesn't? I think a lot of our viewers know that Jeff is an actor. I'm not an actor.
Because he won't tell anybody.
Okay, gotta go. Coming up on DBL, more Oscars talk. Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner join us to break down the night's biggest moments. Plus, we can't skip the red carpet style. It's actually a pink carpet. Stephanie Jones will join us with a fashion recap. And Tyler Perry gets mixed reviews. Why his speech, meant to unify, may have actually caused more division.
Closed captioning provided by
The Verify team is here to get you the facts by taking your questions to the vetted experts. And with a new administration, there's new talk about DC statehood, an idea that's been around for generations. So let's verify. With Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the White House, is there a path to statehood with a simple majority? Our sources are the Senate Rules, the Congressional Record, 51 for 51, an advocacy group, and Alan B. Morrison from the George Washington University Law School.
Do you think this is a real thing that could happen now?
Yeah. Morrison explains that in the Senate, you typically need 60 votes to pass a controversial bill. That's because of the filibuster. Any senator can demand a debate and essentially block a vote. Only 60 votes can stop the filibuster.
The Senate will be in order.
Then came this landmark vote in November 2013. Senate Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, used the so-called nuclear option for the first time. This eliminated the filibuster and made it a simple majority vote for nominees in the executive and the judiciary, except for in the case of the Supreme Court. 4 years later, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the nuclear option yet again, this time for the Supreme Court, requiring just a simple majority for nominations.
And that would be the same for statehood.
They could simply change the filibuster rule and say the filibuster rule does not apply to applications for new states. They could do that in a stroke of the pen.
So we could verify that yes, the Senate can change the rules to get rid of the filibuster, allowing statehood with just 51 votes. But the question is, will they try to make such a change? Even some Democrats have come forward and said publicly that they're against this type of rule change.
There's no question they have the power to do it. The question is, do they have the will and the votes?
With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. There was another moment at last night's Oscar Awards that's got a lot of you talking. I'm reading your comments. Tyler Perry was awarded a humanitarian award, and his acceptance speech called on everyone to refuse hate. Take a listen.
How can I hate you when I had a mother who grew up in a Jim Crow South in Louisiana? My mother taught me to refuse hate. She taught me to refuse blanket judgment. And in this time, and with all of the internet and social media and algorithms and everything that wants us to think a certain way, the 24-hour news cycle, it is my hope that all of us would teach our kids, and not only to remember, just refuse hate.
But there was one part of his speech that lit up Twitter while mentioning a number of groups that have been disenfranchised. He also brought up the police. Here's what he said.
I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LGBTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian.
So one person on Twitter said, quote, Tyler Perry slipped being a police officer in there with race, gender, and sexuality. At this time, truly an embarrassment and disrespectful to the movement in this country, but also telling clearly where he aligns. Okay, Lindsay, what did you make of his speech? Should he have brought up police officers or not?
I think Tyler Perry's actions speak louder than this one speech. I think overall he has done so much to uplift communities of color, but it is like striking when he talks about pairing Blue Lives Matter or even police in the conversation with some oppressed groups, because historically the police are not an oppressed groups. They're not actually a one group of person. Like a lot of different people are police officers. A lot of people that support Black Lives Matter have police officers like myself in their family that they love. And so I think even bringing this up in the conversation, you know, it doesn't make sense that it probably hit a chord with a lot of people, because police officers are not the ones that are technically in danger constantly when their lives are on the line, and the ones that are protected the most when it comes down to justice in this country. So it was a tough thing for him to say, and I think that he maybe just misspoke.
Yeah, you know, Jeff, I want to hear what you have to say. That's how I look at it. You have to look at the total body of work of a human being.
And you've interviewed him quite a few times.
We, as a show, have interviewed him a couple times, Sammy, and it was when he goes every Christmas and clears out an entire section of layaway in Walmart, in Target for families that can't afford it and are in need. He has a compound where he shoots dozens of movies at one time, employing so many women, so many people of color. And I honestly believe, Jeff, that we just missed the context of what he was saying. Did he present it in a ham-handed way that I understand angered people? Absolutely. But do I think that he was saying that he's pro-police brutality? I didn't take that at all. I just thought he said make sure that you analyze everybody that comes in your life and don't put a blanket over everybody.
Yeah, I don't think I misinterpreted it. Or at least the way I interpreted it was the best speech of the night. This was my favorite moment of the night. Tyler Perry's an inspiration to me, to millions. He walks the walk, just like that you were saying. I looked at it, he said meet in the middle. Whether you're black, brown, police officer, whatever you are, let's meet in the middle, because there's problems going on in this country where we need to bring these conversations like we do at this very table on a daily basis and have those. That's what I got from his speech. Everybody meeting in the middle and becoming a better person. That's what I saw from it. Yeah. So I enjoyed it.
Good conversation, guys. Coming up on DBL, the winners of the Oscars red carpet. Stephanie Jones will show us the looks that are getting all the buzz. And Glenn Close loses again, but her dance moves, they were a big hit. Go Glenn. Go Glenn. The twerk everyone's talking about later on DBL.
New research suggests getting too little sleep can increase your risk of dementia. Let's connect the dots. The link between poor sleep and dementia is nothing new, but what was not clear was whether that lack of sleep was a symptom of cognitive decline or one of the causes. Now, a large new study suggests that people who don't get enough shut-eye in their 50s and 60s are more likely to develop dementia later in life. The study was published in the journal Nature. It followed nearly 8,000 people for decades. Researchers found that people who regularly reported getting 6 hours or less of sleep on weeknights were close to 30% more likely to be diagnosed with dementia nearly 3 decades later. That's compared to people who reported getting 7 hours or more a night. So how can you catch more Z's? While doctors say sleeping pills are an okay temporary solution, they don't give you the deep sleep needed. Also, naps are okay, but also a sign you are not getting the shut-eye you need at night. Instead, keep a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed, and keep the phone and screens out of the bedroom.
Welcome back to DBL. Last night marked the 93rd Academy Awards, and earlier Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner joined Tori, Jeff, and Al for a recap of the most memorable moments. Take a look.
And joining us for a behind-the-scenes take is none other than friends with the show Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and new co-host Mazel Tov, Nichelle Turner.
Congrats.
Welcome back, Kevin, and congratulations, Nichelle. Now, Kevin, this year's Academy Award was unlike any other, and I just want to know your overall impression. Did you love it? Did you hate it? It was very Steven Soderbergh. Talk to me.
We are hoping that this is the end. This is the last pandemic award show.
Please.
Please.
Seriously.
Because we need to get back to normal.
Right.
Y'all, get your vaccination, wear your mask. We want to get back to the red carpet.
We definitely do. I mean, you know, we love, it's the pageantry of it all is never lost on us, and especially that night at the Oscars. And so it did feel a little lackluster last night. However, may I say that when Regina King strutted on in there at the beginning, I loved it.
Me too.
I loved it. She was in that blue Louis Vuitton with the sequins,
with the
and she
shoulders.
was walking, honey. She was. Yes, let me see you walk, Regina. And then she almost took a tumble, but she recovered. And then we had the show. Now, there were some moments in the show, right?
Yes.
I mean, there were a few moments in there that captured our attention at least.
Well,
and,
you want to start with the end and work our way back?
Okay, well, let's start with the end.
Okay.
Because the end was something that was unexpected. They shuffled the deck, and they put the Best Actor award last instead of Best Picture.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that Chadwick Boseman was going to win that award. And when Joaquin Phoenix opened up the envelope and he said, Anthony Hopkins,
oh my gosh.
and then he said, Anthony Hopkins isn't here because Anthony Hopkins was in Wales.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya was amazing in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Best movie of the year in my estimation.
Amazing movie.
When he won the Oscar, he just kind of went right or left.
Listen, he gave us the moment. He had a passion speech. It was really great. He was so excited. And then he decided to talk about the birds and the bees.
Please watch. Just watch.
Like, it's incredible. My mom met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing. Like, do you understand? I'm here. You know what I mean? So, I'm so happy to be alive. So I'm going to celebrate that tonight.
Daniel, have you had a chance to talk to your mom yet? Has she texted you yet?
Bro. No, I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit, mate. Trust me. I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit. I think my mum's not going to be very happy.
What does this mean to you, and what...
I got to give him a question. Like, he didn't really have... let him have another one, man.
Thank you. Hey, have you had a... what does this mean to...
I can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me now?
He's muted. Can you unmute him?
Kev, I tried, bro.
I appreciate
tried.
you.
It's the enemy of progress, bro. I'm trying, bro.
That moment is the entire 2021 award season in one interview.
So
that was
bad.
it. That tells you everything you need to know.
Can you hear me now? Can't hear you, bro. Can you hear me now?
Let's talk a little about diversity.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it was represented yesterday? Because in the past, the Academy has been criticized. What'd you think of last night's show as far as diversity goes?
I thought what was important is not the big categories, but the smaller one. Live action, documentary,
hair and
Trayvon
makeup.
Free,
Yeah.
hair and makeup. You saw the first two African-American women to win in that category in history. 33% of the voting members are now women. 19% are underrepresented community. So it is changing slowly but surely.
You have a favorite moment of the night?
Oh, please tell us. Yeah.
Glenn Close didn't win an Oscar, but Glenn Close got an invitation to the barbecue. And that is because Glenn Close laid it all on the table. She gave a shout out to Sugar Bear, and she got up and did the butt. It was beautiful. Take a look at this moment.
I said, come here, big girl, let's rock my world. Show that.
Okay, you guys stop. That's not fair to Glenn Close. She don't know nothing about
Wait
doing
a second,
it.
wait a second. Wait a second, I know, that's the butt.
Do you know the dance, though? Do you know how to do the butt? Quest, turn up. Come on, let's see it. Let me see you do the butt. Let's see it.
Now, it was a skit. It was a skit that was planned,
Yes.
but they
The
didn't
dance
plan the
wasn't.
dancing.
No.
The dance was not planned. And I think that skit proved one thing that was very important. What, Nichelle Turner?
We need a host of the show.
Without
I know
a
what
doubt.
you mean.
They need to have a host.
I totally know what you mean. And at first I was like, wow, Glenn Close knows a lot about debut. And then I was like, wait, this is totally scripted. I totally agree with you.
I'm sorry, you guys. I have to push back on all four of y'all right now, okay? I never thought coming up, going to college in the mid-'90s, that I would hear DC Go-Go, EU, debut at the Oscars. Like, come on, guys. You have to be, like, I was just so happy to see this music be played. Also, Glenn Close, she definitely dated two black dudes in college. She did. It wasn't a long time. It was
Let me
a
say,
spring
I
break.
just want to say this. As somebody who went to the Capitol Center to see EU and Rare Essence and Trouble Funk before back in the day, it just made me happy. I was giddy. I was giddy.
It was amazing.
Little Benny and the Masters.
Yes.
He said she dated not one, but two.
Two black.
Two, and she's invited to the cookout. Well, Kevin Frazier.
They're gonna call her tonight. They called her tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner, thank you so much for joining us today. And don't miss Kevin and Nichelle every night on Entertainment Tonight. Great friends of the show.
Guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We always love joining
We'll be right
Thank
back.
y'all.
Bye,
Always
guys.
love joining y'all.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
What do we know about the anti-COVID-19 drug Israel is developing? Our sources are the National Institutes of Health, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases specialist at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Nayor Barzev, also an infectious diseases expert from Johns Hopkins University. First, our experts say you need to understand how COVID-19 makes people sick. The virus gets into the body.
Our immune response starts to fight the virus and then causes a lot of collateral damage.
This out-of-control immune response can damage organs, and in more than 500,000 cases here in the United States, it's caused death. Enter Israel's new drug with the catchy name XO-CD24, a treatment that patients would just inhale.
The concept here is that we're using an immune modulator to dampen down some of the T cells that are responsible for the cytokine storm that we sometimes see in severe disease.
In other words, the new treatment in theory would calm down the immune system.
So our own immune response does not injure our own lungs and other organ systems.
So where is this drug? Researchers in Israel just completed the phase 1 trial with good results. They tested on moderate and severe cases, but...
So I think it's too early to say anything certain about it, but it's encouraging that we have a product that potentially can reduce disease severity, and that is going to be making its way through rigorous trials and evaluation.
So how could this drug potentially come to the United States? Our experts say it follows the same path we saw the vaccines follow, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and if those prove to be successful, that data will be sent here to the FDA for review. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Okay, lots about the Oscars. Serena says Anthony Hopkins didn't have to show up. He's definitely paid his dues. And oh yeah, there is still a pandemic. Owen on Facebook says the whole show was politically motivated. Did you guys feel that way?
No, I think we got to just accept the fact that they're going to incorporate some of that, right? And people, you watch for whatever you want, your entertainment value or what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers. Leave your comments and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around,
I'm sticking around.
What's coming up? Elton John's iconic Oscars party goes virtual, and our very own Tori Shulman and Stephanie Jones were there. Plus, legendary actress Glenn Close steals the show with her Miley-inspired dance moves. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. We miss you guys. DBL's new every day. We will be right back.
Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Let's see it. Let me see you do the butt. Let's see it.
Yeah, we just can't get enough of Glenn Close twerking to debut at the Oscars last night. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Lindsay, Tori joins us from home.
Sam, you are a pro because they keep switching the whole
I thought I self-edited the prompter.
There you go.
Okay, so Glenn Close's twerking, hi Tori, wasn't the only Oscars moment that got our attention. Everyone is talking about how Minari actress Ye-Jung Yoon flirted with Brad Pitt after winning Best Supporting Actress. Take a look.
Mr. Brad Pitt, finally. Nice to meet you. Where were you while we were filming in Tulsa? It's very honored to meet you.
Oh my gosh, Tori, what did you think about the flirting?
I thought she brought the whole show to another little level of humor. There weren't any musical acts, so I wanted some type of humor. There wasn't a host, so I thought she was excellent. If you do want to know, they later met backstage and took some pictures together, and I just think Ye-Jung Yoon made everyone laugh. If you listen to her BAFTA speech, she also makes people laugh. So if you want a good speech writer, hire her.
Tori, could you get more things in the background of your shot? Did you see how, that looks like a room in an auntie's house. There should be some golf clubs, some old suits, a vacuum cleaner they need to get fixed. I love you so much. I'm sorry.
I just ripped you on national television. I love you, though.
Tori, I love your home. Okay. All right. We also saw an official return to the red carpet, although it was pink at the Oscars. Stephanie Jones is here to break down some of the more unique looks of the night. So, Steph, what did you think?
Okay, well, Sam, like you just said, there was a return to that old school glamour on the red carpet. So we saw stars like Viola Davis, Zendaya, Regina King, and Amanda Seyfried. They really brought their A game when it came to style. But some of the biggest Oscar winners of the night, well, they chose comfort over glamour. So Best Director winner Chloe Zhao wore a long, neutral tone dress and looked radiant without a touch of makeup. But it's her white trainers, or sneakers, as you guys would say, that really made a statement. And then the Best Actress winner, Frances McDormand, always shows off her low-key style at award shows. And again, she ditched the makeup for a natural look. And Halle Berry also went for a softer look with her makeup and her mauve-toned strapless dress. But everyone's talking about her hair. A choppy bob with short bangs. And then speaking of hair, Brad Pitt is letting his hair grow out. He was seen with a little man bun at the back of his head. And while we're talking about the men, the look of the night has to go to Lakeith Stanfield for his custom-made jumpsuit with that 70s-inspired belt and wide collar. So I need to know, what did you guys think of these looks?
I agree with everything you said, Steph, but given that you're our fashionista, I gotta hear from you.
Yeah.
What did you think of gorgeous Halle Berry and her haircut?
Okay, like you said, she's gorgeous. There's no denying it. The dress was spectacular. The hair? Oh, it kind of killed my soul.
Me too. I wasn't a fan of it. But I wasn't a fan of Brad Pitt's either, Steph. I wasn't a fan of either. What did you think?
Listen, Halle Berry's beautiful. You have to put that before anything. I don't mind someone going for it, right?
Right.
But in this case, she looked like Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, it was. From
Dumb and Dumber.
It was not a hit. But Jeff, I appreciate what you said, and Steph, this is why I love your fashion roundups, is because you highlight the extremes, and when you're on the extremes, you're gonna go over a little bit, but somebody's got to push you. We all can't wear khakis and look like we just stepped out of a Land's End catalog. Somebody's got to push the fashion. And I love it.
She could wear anything, and she always looks good, you know. And that dress was spectacular. But I just hope that that was a wig, because I'm not sure about the little fringe. It looks as though she hacked at it with the scissors.
It may have been for a role. You know, she could have came from shooting a movie.
You don't think that was a wig? Do you think that was her hair, or do you think that was a wig?
I think it was for a role. I think it was for a role.
Sam, I have a very important question to ask Steph. Please tell me, and please give me some good news. The Lakeith Stanfield's jumpers outfit,
hot.
is that coming out for regular dudes? Because I know for a fact my brother Jeff liked it. I dug it, and I want to know, could we, first of all, do you think it's coming back, and could we pull it off?
I think it's coming back.
It's coming
Is what
back,
I'm going to
but
say.
Al, I don't know if we could pull that off.
Steph, I love the look, but there's no way Al and Jeff are going to wear that.
I just tried to avoid that.
First of all,
there's no way you two are showing up here in that outfit and without lots of people commenting.
I would bet that Al actually would, you know.
If me and Al walked into a club in our prime time wearing that, ladies would be turning on the chair.
Now they just keep turning.
Now they turn the other way in disgust.
But I want to see it. I'm here for it.
Before we let you go, if you had to pick one look for the night, who stole the show? Who stole it?
Oh gosh, Regina King in that opening, that power walk, the Louis Vuitton that took over 140 hours to make. It had something like 69,000 crystals and sequins. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I
Stunning.
agree. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, so during the Oscars, you may have noticed a sneak peek at Steven Spielberg's revival of the classic 1961 film West Side Story. Here's a look. Wow, did you guys catch that? Yep, Rita Moreno is appearing in the new film as Valentina. She famously won an Oscar for her role as Anita in the original. She also was the first Latina actress to win an Oscar. And if you remember, a few years ago, she came out with a huge article pretty much slamming or just saying how uncomfortable she was with the original West Side Story and how everybody had to wear brown makeup. Natalie Wood was in brown face. All these other, even her, even though she's Puerto Rican, she said that they made sure that her makeup was a darker shade of pigment than her natural one. So she's so happy that Steven Spielberg has made this a lot more inclusive and diverse because it didn't sit well with her looking back at how so many white actors wore brown face.
I wonder how they're going to tweak that. That's one thing that they're going to tweak. I wonder other things. So when you think back to the 60s, there might have been some dialogue, there might have been some action, you know, that they're going to have to tweak from the original, right? So interesting to see how Steven's going to do that.
I can't wait. Are you so excited? I'm so excited.
I don't know if I'm so excited.
Why not?
I'm not going to see the West Side Story, Sam.
Well, it's on Disney Plus.
I don't even know where that is.
On your remote.
Yeah, I'm not on that. Does it say ESPN? Does it say HBO?
It actually has a button on your remote that you click, Disney Plus.
Okay.
And ESPN owns Disney Plus too.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. I will not be watching that. No, but you know what? I think it's cool that we can reboot a story, and like Jess said, I do want to see the tweaks because you can make it more modern, but keep the storyline, which is like really what life is people that are technically from other sides of the tracks, but have mostly similarities. You just kind of look a little different, or maybe, you know, live in a different part of town, but I love it. I'm here for it.
Tori, are you here for it? Are you going to watch it with me?
First of all, I love West Side Story, and Al, you'd really enjoy it. It's a really great piece of movie iconic. I can't speak today. Secondly, I'll say this. I can't. Okay, so Spielberg, though, if you look carefully, it looks like he almost recreated the scene, like scene by scene, exactly the way we had it back in the day. So it's not going to look drastically different. That might make people happy, that might make people upset, but he is stuck to the original very, very strongly. Again, as Sam said, there's no Natalie Wood in brown face, so that's a huge plus. And I think it'll be a little bit less stylized, but I'm super interested. But if it's just scene by scene, the exact same thing, I don't know why we need it, because I love the original, but we'll hear what people say.
How crazy that it's going to be streamed. Like, we are definitely in a whole new era. Maybe I'm late to the game, but I'm used to seeing a Steven Spielberg film, something like a West Side Story reboot in the theaters. And to know that I can be on my couch and I can stream it, is that not bizarre to you?
I mean, I think it's a lot of what I can't have, right? Now that I can't go to the theater, I'm really missing the movie theater. Right. But it's so convenient just to watch it at home. Theaters are starting to make a little bit of a comeback. There's some buzz going around. So
there's some buzz going around.
Some buzz going around in the neighborhood about theaters making a comeback.
Goes to the cinema.
I love it. I love the theater. I love it. I love going there. I love going there as a kid, and I miss that, right? You miss a lot of the
Let me ask you guys this about about the theater. Like, do you need to go there, especially when there's a movie like this with a soundtrack, to hear the music as it was meant to not come through your television speakers, but kind of surround sound movie? I think you need the theater experience for that.
That's why James Bond has been pushed back.
What? What'd you say?
What'd you say?
I was saying that's why, like James Bond and all those big movies that you want to see on the big screen, they pushed back their release date because they really want you in the seats to hear it and see it that way.
There's a cinematic, like...
I think they saw what happened to that movie Tenet. It didn't do well, and it's an action.
It did terribly.
It's an action film, and it just didn't do well, and I think it would have been cool in the theater. So, yeah.
What's going on? There's a weird vibe.
I don't know.
Really weird
it's like someone's talking in the theater behind us.
Before we go to break, we got to give a shout out to Jon Batiste for winning, as we predicted, an Oscar for Best Original Score for the movie Soul. He was on the show on Friday, and we called it. Watch.
On Sunday, when we sit on our couch, we just talked to that dude on Friday, and he just won an Oscar.
You must check out the film Soul. It will just win an Oscar. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not even joking. So I said on the show, like, on Sunday, we're going to be laying in our bed saying, I just talked to that guy. Exactly. I was laying in my bed. I'm like, Jordan, we just talked to this guy. In some weird way, I thought he was going to be like, you know, on that show, Daily Blast Live, you know, they talked to
I'd like to give them, they deserve some of this award for pushing me over the top.
I thought we were like, we had a bond.
You have more likelihood to win an Oscar than Jon Batiste mentioning us in an Oscar speech.
I don't know. He seemed like he had a good time.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
We do have a bit of his acceptance speech from last night. Have a look.
God gave us 12 notes. It's the same 12 notes Duke Ellington had, Bach had. It's the same 12, Nina Simone. I'm just thankful to God for those 12 notes, man. That's so dope.
Wow.
We could have went right in between Bach and Nina Simone.
Yes, we could have.
DBL.
DBL.
And Jeff, don't forget where that Oscar is right now, what he said he's going to do with it. Tell everybody.
He's going to put it in whose house?
His nephew.
His nephew's house in Louisiana?
Yep, his niece and nephew, so they can look at it and know that they can achieve anything.
That's awesome.
He's amazing.
It's on its way.
Congratulations. We predicted it. We're taking responsibility. Coming up on DBL, Tori and Stephanie take us inside Elton John's Oscars party and show us the moments you might have missed. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
The Verify team is here to get you the facts by taking your questions to the vetted experts. And with a new administration, there's new talk about DC statehood, an idea that's been around for generations. So let's verify. With Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the White House, is there a path to statehood with a simple majority? Our sources are the Senate rules, the Congressional Record, 51 for 51, an advocacy group, and Alan B. Morrison from the George Washington University Law School.
Do you think this is a real thing that could happen now?
Yeah.
Morrison explains that in the Senate, you typically need 60 votes to pass a controversial bill. That's because of the filibuster. Any senator can demand a debate and essentially block a vote. Only 60 votes can stop the filibuster.
The Senate will be in order.
Then came this landmark vote in November 2013. Senate Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, used the so-called nuclear option for the first time. This eliminated the filibuster and made it a simple majority vote for nominees in the executive and the judiciary, except for in the case of the Supreme Court. 4 years later, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the nuclear option yet again, this time for the Supreme Court, requiring just a simple majority for nominations.
And that would be the same for statehood. They could simply change the filibuster rule and say the filibuster rule does not apply to applications for new states. They could do that in a stroke of the pen.
So we could verify that yes, the Senate can change the rules to get rid of the filibuster, allowing statehood with just 51 votes. But the question is, will they try to make such a change? Even some Democrats have come forward and said publicly that they're against this type of rule change.
There's no question they have the power to do it. The question is, do they have the will and the votes?
With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Yes, welcome back to DBL. That was Elton John and Dua Lipa at the Academy Awards pre-party. For the first time ever, Elton's annual charity event was open to fans who could join virtually. You might remember us talking about it last week. Well, here's what Tori thought of the idea. Wow, you can be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, and the whole point of that is exclusivity. Like, the whole point of the Elton John thing is no one can get in, but if the whole world's invited, what's so cool?
Well, lucky for Tori, we sent her with Stephanie Jones to the pre-party, so Steph joins us in studio. But we're going to start with the skeptic Tori. So, Tori, did you feel like a fly on the wall or no?
I didn't feel like a fly on the wall. I did have a good time. It was above my expectations, but I thought we were going to be on robots and we could go through Elton's house and like see his sunglasses room and like maybe meet someone cool and like get to be a fly on the wall that way. It was not at all like that. Not at all.
Go in his sunglasses room? Stephanie,
yeah,
that would be amazing.
That's what we all want.
Steph, did you feel like a fly on the wall?
No, I felt like I was watching a really posh Zoom. You know?
What could they have done to make it more exclusive? What would you have done differently?
I just feel like it was all pre-recorded. I mean, we saw a global exclusive there. Elton John's never performed with Dua Lipa. She looked amazing. She was dripping in Fabergé diamonds, as you do, and Balenciaga. Gorgeous. Yeah, as you do, casual Sunday night. But yeah, I just felt like it was very posh, zoomy, and it was shot in the Rosewood Hotel, which is in London, gorgeous hotel. So yeah, there wasn't really that intimate kind of vibe. It was just like, oh yeah, they're having a little rehearsal for something.
So what did you and Tori wear?
I will say,
and then go. Yes.
I wore pajamas, but I will say this really quickly is I didn't know Dua Lipa well, and that Benny and the Jets and her singing, I've added her to my playlist. I love her. Didn't know she was British because I have that good of a music taste.
And Steph, please tell me you wore something more than just pajamas.
Well, I wasn't sure if we were going to see other people, so I went all out and had like big sparkly earrings on and like a shiny top, and I brought my cat with me.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
I wasn't sure if he was going to go into some kind of open chat and like you could see other people, so I was too afraid to like not make the most of it.
I love that Steph is the belle of the ball with a cat on her shoulder.
Yeah. Well, there was like no one there, then I just literally was watching a pre-recorded thing, so whatever. Waste of time.
All right, thank you so much, Steph and Tori. We'll be right back.
Way to sell the segment, guys.
Hey, we're always honest here.
New research suggests getting too little sleep can increase your risk of dementia. Let's connect the dots. The link between poor sleep and dementia is nothing new, but what was not clear was whether that lack of sleep was a symptom of cognitive decline or one of the causes. Now, a large new study suggests that people who don't get enough shut-eye in their 50s and 60s are more likely to develop dementia later in life. The study was published in the journal Nature. It followed nearly 8,000 people for decades. Researchers found that people who regularly reported getting 6 hours or less of sleep on weeknights were close to 30% more likely to be diagnosed with dementia nearly 3 decades later. That's compared to people who reported getting 7 hours or more a night. So how can you catch more Z's? While doctors say sleeping pills are an okay temporary solution, they don't give you the deep sleep needed. Also, naps are okay, but also a sign you are not getting the shut-eye you need at night. Instead, keep a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed, and keep the phone and screens out of the bedroom.
to DBL. There are so many benefits to exercise, including brain health. We're going to chat about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness, presented by QB. So a new study shows older adults who are active have better cognitive health. That includes memory, learning, and making everyday decisions. The study also found that anyone experiencing early stages of cognitive decline, like dementia, should be putting a focus on physical health. Staying active is so important, and QB has made it easy regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. It makes sense, right? If you're pumping the oxygen, the blood, blood carries oxygen, it's going to affect your brain health.
Yeah, staying active. I mean, my grandmother mowed her lawn until she was 90 years old.
What?
Yeah.
Little lawnmower like yours?
Mine actually embarrassing enough might be smaller than hers.
Tori, were you surprised by this?
Actually, I'm just reading a book on neurosurgery, which is really good, called When the Air Hits the Brain. And the brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can get better. It can heal itself. That's super rare. So I know that exercise really gets blood there, oxygen there, and the brain can get stronger and better. So why not?
I love Tori.
Yeah.
Like, who goes home at the end of the day and reads a book about neuroscience?
But then who wears pajamas, Elton John?
Tori, I like that you read that book.
It's a really, really interesting book if you're interested in aging and the brain and science and nerds. That's what I'll recommend it for all you out there.
Love it.
I'm here for it.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
What do we know about the anti-COVID-19 drug Israel is developing? Our sources are the National Institutes of Health, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases specialist at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Naor Barzev, also an infectious diseases expert from Johns Hopkins University. First, our experts say you need to understand how COVID-19 makes people sick. The virus gets into the body.
Our immune response starts to fight the virus and then causes a lot of collateral damage.
This out-of-control immune response can damage organs, and in more than 500,000 cases here in the United States, it's caused death. Enter Israel's new drug with the catchy name XO-CD24, a treatment that patients would just inhale.
The concept here is that we're using an immune modulator to dampen down some of the T cells that are responsible for the cytokine storm that we sometimes see in severe disease.
In other words, the new treatment, in theory, would calm down the immune system.
So our own immune response does not injure our own lungs and other organ systems.
So where is this drug? Researchers in Israel just completed the phase 1 trial with good results. They tested on moderate and severe cases, but...
So I think it's too early to say anything certain about it, but it's encouraging that we have a product that potentially can reduce disease severity, and that is going to be making its way through rigorous trials and evaluation.
So how could this drug potentially come to the United States? Our experts say it follows the same path we saw the vaccines follow, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and if those prove to be successful, that data will be sent here to the FDA for review. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
A lot of comments to end the show. Sue on Facebook says, it's funny how Broadway shows go on for years with no changes to the story, but movie remakes are expected to be different. That's profound. You're right. Jennifer says, what is the point of remaking a movie shot by shot? Steven Spielberg is a genius, but really, what is this purpose? Betty says, I'm going to be super disappointed if Spielberg doesn't change up West Side Story to make it more modern. Why even bother if he doesn't? I was told that there's a lot of different plot twists. So it shouldn't be shot by shot, maybe the cinematography, but not the plots. Veronica says that's John Batiste. Oh, that John Batiste is a snack. DBL should have him back on to talk about his win and see if he's available. Okay. And Fiona says, who shows up to a party, even if it's on Zoom, in PJs?
I know someone.
Did Tori think it was some sleepover Oscar party?
Okay, they were really nice pajamas, and I had done my hair and I had done my face, so I don't think that it categorized as like just a nothing shirt. It was a crisp, lined pajama set.
You know what I'd love to see? You know how Regina King walked in all fierce, like for the Oscars? I'd like to have a shot of Tori getting out of her Prius, like in her crazy giant big jacket and her crazy shoes, walking into DBL, like with
and
sunglasses
her
on.
mismatched socks.
Yeah, and just looking insane.
Yeah. Before we go, I have to thank a really sweet viewer, Barbara. I just received your cards, Barbara, from Tucson. There's a card for Eric, you guys. Eric, my brother-in-law, who's been in the hospital with COVID complications. For you to think of my brother-in-law, honestly, Barbara from Tucson, Arizona, you are the sweetest. You just made my day, and I can't wait to give it to Eric. Thank you. A quick goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. We'll see you guys later. DBL's new every day. Bye, guys.
About today on Daily Blast Live.
This year's Oscar winners made history, but a surprise snub is what has everyone talking. Did the late Chadwick Boseman deserve to win Best Actor? Plus, Tyler Perry's powerful speech.
I would hope that we would refuse hate.
Daniel Kaluuya shocks his family with this hilarious on-stage moment.
My mom met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing.
Then, the return of the award show red carpet. We've got the best looks from the night, plus Hallie's new hairstyle. We're talking about it all. And this supporting actress winner steals the show.
Mr. Brad Pitt, finally. Nice to meet you.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Awe of Regina King's epic power walk
not.
at the Oscars last night in that jaw-dropping Louis Vuitton dress, by the way. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, April 26th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. That's not Tori. That's Lindsay Granger. I'm so sorry. I was just reading the teleprompter. I love. Hello, Lindsay Granger. Okay, so let's talk. Hey, let's talk about the Oscars. There were a bunch of big changes. It was shot like a movie. The speeches were much longer. And of course, there was a new venue. It was at a train station in downtown Los Angeles. So what did you all think? Did it work? Let me start with Lindsay, since I got your name wrong. Lindsay. And you know it wasn't intentional. So when you saw the Oscars last night, considering, I mean, we just showed you that intro with Regina King, right? It visually looked starkly different from all the other Oscars that we're familiar with.
Yeah, I thought it was like weird in a good way. So we had directors creating what we're looking at instead of like watching the classic Zoom videos that we've been watching over this whole award season. And I really, as somebody who's not a huge fan of award shows in general, and definitely not over Zoom, thought this was really impressive. And they did the best with lemons that this pandemic has given us. So I was actually really impressed, and I liked especially the walk-in from Regina King. That was awesome.
I like the lemons reference and the Regina King walk-in.
She was fierce.
I liked it. It was very Reservoir Dogs, very Pulp Fiction. You know, so I love that. I love the way they started. So I don't want to be like that artsy guy, but visually, I don't know if people appreciated how great that was shot at home. There was one specific one where they came like through a bush, and then you saw the presenter and then the crowd, and it was almost like you were backstage. So stylistically, Soderbergh knocked it out of the park. Some of those speeches got a little bit long for my liking, but overall, I thought it was pretty cool, especially how they told like little stories about each person. I love anything behind the scenes.
What about without a host? I agree with everything else, or with everything now.
Wow.
Everyone's
What's going on down there, Frank?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I agree with everything that you just said, Jeff, minus the fact that I missed a host. I like to have a host. Am I wrong with that, Al?
And you can just call me what's his face. You know, honestly, Sam, I think that I'm hoping that, you know, I know Jeff said that the speeches went too long, and I'd agree with that, and a lot of people would. But I think that there's so many nuggets from here that we can take and use. And I want to see it shot like this. I like the movie aspect. I like the idea that everything kind of links together, because I think that even though they're competing movies, they all have similar origin stories in terms of like the people that were behind the camera and in front. I liked it like this, so I hope that we kind of keep this, and maybe even when we're back into a live audience situation, we keep the movie aspect. So I was here for it.
Me too. I didn't think I'd like it. I loved it. Okay, so but a lot of you were actually slamming last night's awards for what appeared to be a huge snub. In case you missed it, let me set it up for you, okay? So for the first time ever, the order of the awards were changed, and the last award of the night was for Best Actor. So a lot of you thought, and you hoped, that Chadwick Boseman was going to win a posthumous award for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. His win would have ended the show with an emotional speech by his widow, but instead, Anthony Hopkins won for The Father, and he wasn't even present to give a speech. This morning, he posted one to Instagram, though. Take a look.
At 83 years of age, I did not expect to get this award. I really didn't. I want to pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman, who was taken from us far too early. And again, thank you all very much. I really did not expect this. So I feel very privileged and honored. Thank you.
What a class act, Lindsay. It was the birds chirping in the background for me. That's what did it. But you know, so many people, Lindsay, are slamming him for not showing up. He's 83 years old. Does he really have to show up? We're in the middle of the pandemic. What did you think about that, Lindsay?
Yeah, I totally understand why he wouldn't want to show up. I think it's an option right now, and a lot of people are even saying that award shows happening in person is problematic for so many people that are struggling through this COVID pandemic. But I do think that it's interesting because, you know, on the one hand, every award show that we've seen for the most part honoring films and TV has honored Chadwick Boseman in some way. And so since the Oscars didn't, people were really bashing it and really upset. But I do think that they have to stick to whatever they thought was the best movie. And even as a huge Chadwick Boseman fan, I don't know that I thought that was his best film ever. And I haven't seen all the other films on the roster, but you know, a lot of people said he should have got the award just because he passed. And although I love him so much, you know, it's just like they had to do whatever they chose to do in voting. And so I don't agree with the sentiment of just giving him the award because he passed, because he's a phenomenal actor that should have won an award many times prior to this.
Well said, Lindsay. Okay, so a lot of people were also commenting that last night was the most woke Oscars ever. A lot of the presenters and award winners, including Regina King, the singer Her, and the filmmakers for Two Distant Strangers, brought up social justice issues, specifically police brutality and Derek Chauvin. Plus, there were a lot of historic firsts. Chloe Zhao became the first woman of color to win Best Director and just the second woman to win the award. That was, of course, for the movie No Man Land, which was Best Picture. Mia Neal and Jamaica Wilson became the first ever black stylist to win for Best Makeup and Styling for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And Ya Jung Ewan became the second Asian woman and the first ever Korean to win an acting prize. She won Best Supporting Actor in Minari. So here's the question, DBL Nation. We want to hear from you. We always do. Oscars so white. You guys remember that hashtag, right? It was a thing in 2015. Does this year's award, in your opinion, this year's award show prove how far we've come? Does it feel like things have gotten better? Al, is there progress here?
I mean, I think the list of names that you just read tells us that it has. I think that it's so weird that we push for a change and we push for things to progress, and people listen, people agree, and it starts to happen, and we see it with the list you just read. And we still question, well, why is this happening? It's like, no, a lot of people feel like this. A lot of people feel like we should start to highlight everybody, no matter what your gender, how you identify. And so I'm here for it. I'm really happy with how things are going.
I love the inclusivity because it gives kids at home something to look at, right? It's like, that could be me one day. Even, I'm 42 years old, I still dream, right? And I look at those presenters, just like you're reading those names, Sam, I thought of last night, I'm like, I could give those presentations one day. And then they started reading some of those names, I'm like, maybe I can't. But I could always dream. I could always dream. So it gives other people from everywhere something to look at and dream about.
Representation does matter, but I have to ask you, you're in, because I know you write down goals every year. You want an Oscar one day?
I mean, I wouldn't shoo it away. Yeah, I would take one.
Really hard-hitting question, Sam. Hit him in the corner there.
Do you want $1 million? Yes or no? Be honest.
Who doesn't? I think a lot of our viewers know that Jeff is an actor. I'm not an actor.
Because he won't tell anybody.
Okay, gotta go. Coming up on DBL, more Oscars talk. Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner join us to break down the night's biggest moments. Plus, we can't skip the red carpet style. It's actually a pink carpet. Stephanie Jones will join us with a fashion recap. And Tyler Perry gets mixed reviews. Why his speech, meant to unify, may have actually caused more division.
Closed captioning provided by
The Verify team is here to get you the facts by taking your questions to the vetted experts. And with a new administration, there's new talk about DC statehood, an idea that's been around for generations. So let's verify. With Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the White House, is there a path to statehood with a simple majority? Our sources are the Senate rules, the Congressional Record, 51 for 51, an advocacy group, and Alan B. Morrison from the George Washington University Law School.
Do you think this is a real thing that could happen now?
Yeah.
Morrison explains that in the Senate, you typically need 60 votes to pass a controversial bill. That's because of the filibuster. Any senator can demand a debate and essentially block a vote. Only 60 votes can stop the filibuster.
The Senate will be in order.
Then came this landmark vote in November 2013. Senate Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, used the so-called nuclear option for the first time. This eliminated the filibuster and made it a simple majority vote for nominees in the executive and the judiciary, except for in the case of the Supreme Court. 4 years later, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the nuclear option yet again, this time for the Supreme Court, requiring just a simple majority for nominations.
And that would be the same for statehood. They could simply change the filibuster rule and say the filibuster rule does not apply to applications for new states. They could do that in a stroke of the pen.
So we can verify that yes, the Senate can change the rules to get rid of the filibuster, allowing statehood with just 51 votes. But the question is, will they try to make such a change? Even some Democrats have come forward and said publicly that they're against this type of rule change.
There's no question they have the power to do it. The question is, do they have the will and the votes?
With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
To DBL, there was another moment at last night's Oscar Awards that's got a lot of you talking. I'm reading your comments. Tyler Perry was awarded a humanitarian award, and his acceptance speech called on everyone to refuse hate. Take a listen.
How can I hate you when I had a mother who grew up in a Jim Crow South in Louisiana? My mother taught me to refuse hate. She taught me to refuse blanket judgment. And in this time, and with all of the internet and social media and algorithms and everything that wants us to think a certain way, the 24-hour news cycle, it is my hope that all of us would teach our kids, and not only to remember, just refuse hate.
But there was one part of his speech that lit up Twitter while mentioning a number of groups that have been disenfranchised. He also brought up the police. Here's what he said.
I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LGBTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian.
So one person on Twitter said, quote, Tyler Perry slipped being a police officer in there with race, gender, and sexuality. At this time, truly an embarrassment and disrespectful to the movement in this country, but also telling clearly where he aligns. Okay, Lindsay, what did you make of his speech? Should he have brought up police officers or not?
I think Tyler Perry's actions speak louder than this one speech. I think overall he has done so much to uplift communities of color, but it is like striking when he talks about pairing Blue Lives Matter or even police in the conversation with some oppressed groups, because historically the police are not in oppressed groups. They're not actually a one group of person. Like a lot of different people are police officers. A lot of people that support Black Lives Matter have police officers like myself in their family that they love. And so I think even bringing this up in the conversation, you know, it doesn't make sense that it probably hit a chord with a lot of people, because police officers are not the ones that are technically in danger constantly when their lives are on the line, and the ones that are protected the most when it comes down to justice in this country. So it was a tough thing for him to say, and I think that he maybe just misspoke.
Yeah, you know, Jeff, I want to hear what you have to say. That's how I look at it. You have to look at the total body of work of a human being.
And you've interviewed him quite a few times.
We, as a show, have interviewed him a couple times, Sammy, and it was when he goes every Christmas and clears out an entire section of layaway in Walmart, in Target for families that can't afford it and are in need. He has a compound where he shoots dozens of movies at one time, employing so many women, so many people of color. And I honestly believe, Jeff, that we just missed the context of what he was saying. Did he present it in a ham-handed way that I understand angered people? Absolutely. But do I think that he was saying that he's pro-police brutality? I didn't take that at all. I just thought he said make sure that you analyze everybody that comes in your life and don't put a blanket over everybody.
Yeah, I don't think I misinterpreted it. Or at least the way I interpreted it was the best speech of the night. This was my favorite moment of the night. Tyler Perry's an inspiration to me, to millions. He walks the walk, just like that you were saying. I looked at it, he said meet in the middle. Whether you're black, brown, police officer, whatever you are, let's meet in the middle, because there's problems going on in this country where we need to bring these conversations like we do at this very table on a daily basis and have those. That's what I got from his speech. Everybody meeting in the middle and becoming a better person. That's what I saw from it. Yeah. So I enjoyed it.
Good conversation, guys. Coming up on DBL, the winners of the Oscars red carpet. Stephanie Jones will show us the looks that are getting all the buzz. And Glenn Close loses again, but her dance moves, they were a big hit. Go Glenn. Go Glenn. The twerk everyone's talking about later on DBL.
New research suggests getting too little sleep can increase your risk of dementia. Let's connect the dots. The link between poor sleep and dementia is nothing new, but what was not clear was whether that lack of sleep was a symptom of cognitive decline or one of the causes. Now, a large new study suggests that people who don't get enough shut-eye in their 50s and 60s are more likely to develop dementia later in life. The study was published in the journal Nature. It followed nearly 8,000 people for decades. Researchers found that people who regularly reported getting 6 hours or less of sleep on weeknights were close to 30% more likely to be diagnosed with dementia nearly 3 decades later. That's compared to people who reported getting 7 hours or more a night. So how can you catch more Z's? While doctors say sleeping pills are an okay temporary solution, they don't give you the deep sleep needed. Also, naps are okay, but also a sign you are not getting the shut-eye you need at night. Instead, keep a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed, and keep the phone and screens out of the bedroom.
Welcome back to DBL. Last night marked the 93rd Academy Awards, and earlier Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner joined Tori, Jeff, and Al for a recap of the most memorable moments. Take a look.
And joining us for a behind-the-scenes take is none other than friends of the show Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and new co-host Mazel Tov Nichelle Turner.
Congrats.
Welcome back, Kevin, and congratulations, Nichelle. Now, Kevin, this year's Academy Award was unlike any other, and I just want to know your overall impression. Did you love it? Did you hate it? It was very Steven Soderbergh. Talk to me.
We are hoping that this is the end. This is the last pandemic award show.
Please.
Please.
Seriously.
Because we need to get back to normal.
Right.
Y'all, get your vaccination, wear your mask. We want to get back to the red carpet.
We definitely do. I mean, you know, we love, it's the pageantry of it all is never lost on us, and especially that night at the Oscars. And so it did feel a little lackluster last night. However, may I say that when Regina King strutted on in there at the beginning, I loved it.
Me too.
I loved it. She was in that blue Louis Vuitton with the sequins,
with the
and
shoulders.
she was walking, honey. She was. Yes, let me see you walk, Regina. And then she almost took a tumble, but she recovered. She did. And then we had the show. Now, there were some moments in the show, right?
Yes. I mean, there were a few moments in there that captured our attention at least.
Well, you want to start with the end and work our way back?
Okay, well, let's start with the end.
Okay.
Because the end was something that was unexpected. They shuffled the deck, and they put the Best Actor award last instead of Best Picture.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that Chadwick Boseman was going to win that award. And when Joaquin Phoenix opened up the envelope and he said, Anthony Hopkins,
oh my gosh.
and then he said, Anthony Hopkins isn't here because Anthony Hopkins was in Wales.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya was amazing in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Best movie of the year in my estimation.
Amazing movie.
When he won the Oscar, he just kind of went right or left.
Listen, he gave us the moment. He had a passion speech. It was really great. He was so excited. And then he decided to talk about the birds and the bees.
Please watch. Just watch.
Like, it's incredible. My mom met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing. Like, do you understand? I'm here. You know what I mean? So, I'm so happy to be alive. So I'm going to celebrate that tonight.
Daniel, have you had a chance to talk to your mom yet? Has she texted you yet?
Bro. No, I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit, mate. Trust me. I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit. I think my mom's not going to be very happy.
What does this mean to you, and what...
I got to give him a question. Like, he didn't really have... let him have another one, man.
Thank you. Hey, have you had a... what does this mean
I can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me now?
He's muted. Can you unmute him?
Kev, I tried, bro.
I appreciate
tried,
you.
It's the enemy of progress, bro. I'm trying, bro.
That moment is the entire 2021 award season in one interview.
So
that was it.
bad.
That tells you
Can you hear
everything
me
you
now?
need to know.
Can you hear me now? Can't hear you, bro. Can you hear me now?
Let's talk a little about diversity. Do you guys think it was represented yesterday? Because in the past, the Academy has been criticized. What do you think of last night's show as far as diversity goes?
I thought what was important is not the big categories, but the smaller one. Live action documentary,
hair and
Trayvon
makeup.
Free,
Yeah.
hair and makeup. You saw the first two African-American women to win in that category in history. 33% of the voting members are now women. 19% are underrepresented community. So it is changing slowly but surely.
You have a favorite moment of the night?
Oh, please tell us. Yeah.
Glenn Close didn't win an Oscar, but Glenn Close got an invitation to the barbecue. And that is because Glenn Close laid it all on the table. She gave a shout out to Sugar Bear, and she got up and did the butt. It was beautiful. Take a look at this moment.
I said, come in, big girl, let's rock my world. So that, hey.
Okay, you know, stop. That's not fair to Glenn Close. She don't know nothing about doing
Wait a second. Wait a second. I know that's the butt.
Do you know the dance, though? Do you know how to do the butt? Quest, turn it up. Come on, let's see it. Let me see you do the butt. Let's see it.
Now, it was a skit. It was a skit that was planned, but they didn't plan the dancing.
No.
The dance was not planned. And I think that skit proved one thing that was very important. What, Nichelle Turner?
We need a host of the show.
I know what you mean.
They need to have a host.
I totally know what you mean. And at first I was like, wow, Glenn Close knows a lot about debut. And then I was like, wait, this is totally scripted. I totally agree with it.
I'm sorry, you guys. I have to push back on all four of y'all right now, okay? I never thought coming up, going to college in the mid-'90s, that I would hear DC Go-Go, EU, debut at the Oscars. Like, come on, guys. You have to be, like, I was just so happy to see this music be played. Also, Glenn Close, she definitely dated two black dudes in college. She did. It wasn't a long time. It was
Let
like
me
a
say,
spring
I
break.
just want to say this. As somebody who went to the Capitol Center to see EU in Rare Essence and Trouble Funk before back in the day, it just made me happy. I was giddy. I was giddy.
It was amazing.
Little Benny and the Masters.
Yes.
She said she dated not one, but two.
Two black.
Two, and she's invited to the cookout. Well, Kevin Frazier.
They're going to call her tonight. They called her tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner, thank you so much for joining us today. And don't miss Kevin and Nichelle every night on Entertainment Tonight. Great friends of the show.
Guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We always love joining
We'll be right
Thank
back.
y'all.
Bye,
Always
guys.
love joining you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
What do we know about the anti-COVID-19 drug Israel is developing? Our sources are the National Institutes of Health, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases specialist at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Nayor Barzev, also an infectious diseases expert from Johns Hopkins University. First, our experts say you need to understand how COVID-19 makes people sick. The virus gets into the body.
Our immune response starts to fight the virus and then causes a lot of collateral damage.
This out-of-control immune response can damage organs, and in more than 500,000 cases here in the United States, it's caused death. Enter Israel's new drug with the catchy name XO-CD24, a treatment that patients would just inhale.
The concept here is that we're using an immune modulator to dampen down some of the T cells that are responsible for the cytokine storm that we sometimes see in severe disease.
In other words, the new treatment in theory would calm down the immune system.
So our own immune response does not injure our own lungs and other organ systems.
So where is this drug? Researchers in Israel just completed the phase 1 trial with good results. They tested on moderate and severe cases, but...
So I think it's too early to say anything certain about it, but it's encouraging that we have a product that potentially can reduce disease severity, and that is going to be making its way through rigorous trials and evaluation.
So how could this drug potentially come to the United States? Our experts say it follows the same path we saw the vaccines follow, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and if those prove to be successful, that data will be sent here to the FDA for review. With your Verified, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Okay, lots about the Oscars. Serena says Anthony Hopkins didn't have to show up. He's definitely paid his dues. And oh yeah, there is still a pandemic. Owen on Facebook says the whole show was politically motivated. Did you guys feel that way?
No, I think we got to just accept the fact that they're going to incorporate some of that, right? And people, you watch for whatever you want, your entertainment value or what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers. Leave your comments and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around,
I'm sticking around.
Here's what's coming up. Elton John's iconic Oscars party goes virtual, and our very own Tori Shulman and Stephanie Jones were there. Plus, legendary actress Glenn Close steals the show with her Miley-inspired dance moves. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. We miss you guys. DBL's new every day. We will be right back.
Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Let's see it. Let me see you do the butt. Let's see it.
Yeah, we just can't get enough of Glenn Close twerking to debut at the Oscars last night. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Lindsay, Tori joins us from home.
Sam, you are a pro because they keep switching the whole
I thought I self-edited the prompter.
There you go.
Okay, so Glenn Close's twerking, hi Tori, wasn't the only Oscars moment that got our attention. Everyone is talking about how Minari actress Ye Jung-eun flirted with Brad Pitt after winning Best Supporting Actress. Take a look.
Mr. Brad Pitt, finally. Nice to meet you. Where were you while we were filming in Tulsa? It's very honored to meet you.
Oh my gosh, Tori, what did you think about the flirting?
I thought she brought the whole show to another little level of humor. There weren't any musical acts, so I wanted some type of humor. There wasn't a host, so I thought she was excellent. If you do want to know, they later met backstage and took some pictures together, and I just think Ye Jung-eun made everyone laugh. If you listen to her BAFTA speech, she also makes people laugh. So if you want a good speech writer, hire her.
Tori, could you get more things in the background of your shot? Did you see how, look at, like that looks like a room in an auntie's house. There should be some golf clubs, some old suits, a vacuum cleaner they need to get fixed. I love you so much. I'm sorry.
I just ripped you on national television. I love you, though.
Tori, I love your home. Okay. All right. We also saw an official return to the red carpet, although it was pink at the Oscars. Stephanie Jones is here to break down some of the more unique looks of the night. So, Steph, what did you think?
Okay, well, Sam, like you just said, there was a return to that old school glamour on the red carpet. So we saw stars like Viola Davis, Zendaya, Regina King, and Amanda Seyfried. They really brought their A game when it came to style. But some of the biggest Oscar winners of the night, well, they chose comfort over glamour. So Best Director winner Chloe Zhao wore a long, neutral tone dress and looked radiant without a touch of makeup. But it's her white trainers or sneakers, as you guys would say, that really made a statement. And then the Best Actress winner, Frances McDormand, always shows off her low-key style at award shows. And again, she ditched the makeup for a natural look. And Halle Berry also went for a softer look with her makeup and her mauve-toned strapless dress. But everyone's talking about her hair. A choppy bob with short bangs. And then speaking of hair, Brad Pitt is letting his hair grow out. He was seen with a little man bun at the back of his head. And while we're talking about the men, the look of the night has to go to Lakeith Stanfield for his custom-made jumpsuit with that 70s-inspired belt and wide collar. So I need to know, what did you guys think of these looks?
I agree with everything you said, Steph, but given that you're our fashionista, I gotta hear from you.
Yeah.
What did you think of gorgeous Halle Berry and her haircut?
Okay, like you said, she's gorgeous. There's no denying it. The dress was spectacular. The hair? Oh, it kind of killed my soul.
Me too. I wasn't a fan of it. But and I wasn't a fan of Brad Pitt's either, Steph. I wasn't a fan of either. What did you think?
Listen, Halle Berry's beautiful. You have to put that before anything. I don't mind someone going for it, right?
Right.
But in this case, she looked like Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, it was. That was.
From Dumb and Dumber.
It was not a hit. But Jeff, I appreciate what you said, and Steph, this is why I love your fashion roundups, is because you highlight the extremes, and when you're on the extremes, you're gonna go over a little bit, but somebody's got to push you. We all can't wear khakis and look like we just stepped out of a Land's End catalog. Somebody's got to like push the fashion. I love it.
She could wear anything, and she always looks good, you know, and that dress was spectacular. But I just hope that that was a wig, because I'm not sure about the little fringe. It looks as though like she hacked at it with the scissors.
It may have been for a role, you know. She could have came from shooting a movie.
You don't think that was a wig? Do you think that was her hair, or do you think that was a wig?
I think it was for a role. I think it was for a role.
Sam, I have a very important question to ask Steph. Please tell me, and please give me some good news. The Lakeith Stanfield's jumpers outfit, is that coming out for regular dudes? Because I know for a fact my brother Jeff liked it. I dug it, and I want to know, could we, first of all, do you think it's coming back, and could we pull it off?
I think it's coming back.
It's coming
what I'm
back,
going to
but
say.
Al, I don't know if we could pull that off.
Steph, I love the look, but there's no way Al and Jeff are going to wear that.
I just tried to avoid that.
First of all,
there's no way you two are showing up here in that outfit and without
in a second.
lots of people commenting.
I would bet that Al actually would, you know.
Me and Al walked into a club in our prime time wearing that. Ladies will be turning on the chair.
Now they just keep turning.
Now they turn the other way in disgust.
But I want to see it. I'm here for
Before
it.
we let you go, if you had to pick one look for the night, who stole the show? Who stole it?
Oh gosh, Regina King in that opening, that power walk, the Louis Vuitton that took over 140 hours to make. It had something like 69,000 crystals and sequins. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I
Stunning.
agree. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, so during the Oscars, you may have noticed a sneak peek at Steven Spielberg's revival of the classic 1961 film West Side Story. Here's a look. Wow, did you guys catch that? Yep, Rita Moreno is appearing in the new film as Valentina. She famously won an Oscar for her role as Anita in the original. She also was the first Latina actress to win an Oscar. And if you remember, a few years ago, she came out with a huge article pretty much slamming or just saying how uncomfortable she was with the original West Side Story and how everybody had to wear brown makeup. Natalie Wood was in brown face. All these other, even her, even though she's Puerto Rican, she said that they made sure that her makeup was a darker shade of pigment than her natural one. So she's so happy that Steven Spielberg has made this a lot more inclusive and diverse because it didn't sit well with her looking back at how so many white actors wore brown face.
I wonder how they're going to tweak that. That's one thing that they're going to tweak. I wonder other things. So when you think back to the 60s, there might have been some dialogue, there might have been some action, you know, that they're going to have to tweak from the original, right? So interesting to see how Steven's going to do that.
I can't wait. Are you so excited? I'm so excited.
I don't know if I'm so excited.
Why not?
I'm not going to see the West Side Story, Sam.
Well, it's on Disney Plus.
I don't even know where that is.
On your remote.
Yeah, I'm not on that. Does it say ESPN? Does it say HBO?
It actually has a button on your remote that you click, Disney Plus.
Okay.
And ESPN owns Disney Plus too.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. I will not be watching that. No, but you know what? I think it's cool that we can reboot a story. And like Jess said, I do want to see the tweaks because you can make it more modern, but keep the storyline, which is like really what life is people that are technically from other sides of the tracks, but have mostly similarities. You just kind of look a little different or maybe, you know, live in a different part of town, but I love it. I'm here for it.
Tori, are you here for it? Are you going to watch it with me?
First of all, I love West Side Story, and Al, you'd really enjoy it. It's a really great piece of movie iconic. I can't speak today. Secondly, I'll say this. I can't. Okay, so Spielberg, though, if you look carefully, it looks like he almost recreated the scene, like scene by scene, exactly the way we had it back in the day. So it's not going to look drastically different. That might make people happy, that might make people upset, but he is stuck to the original very, very strongly. Again, as Sam said, there's no Natalie Wood in brown face, so that's a huge plus. And I think it'll be a little bit less stylized, but I'm super interested. But if it's just scene by scene, the exact same thing, I don't know why we need it, because I love the original, but we'll hear what people say.
How crazy that it's going to be streamed. Like, we are definitely in a whole new era. Maybe I'm late to the game, but I'm used to seeing a Steven Spielberg film, something like a West Side Story reboot in the theaters. And to know that I can be on my couch and I can stream it, is that not bizarre to you?
I mean, I think it's a lot of what I can't have, right? Now that I can't go to the theater, I'm really missing the movie theater. Right. But it's so convenient just to watch it at home. Theaters are starting to make a little bit of a comeback. There's some buzz going around. So
there's some buzz going around.
Some buzz going around in the neighborhood about theaters making a comeback.
Goes to the cinema.
I love it. I love the theater. I love it. I love going there. I love going there as a kid, and I miss that, right? You miss a lot of the
Let me ask you guys this. about the theater. Like, do you need to go there, especially when there's a movie like this with a soundtrack, to hear the music as it was meant to not come through your television speakers, but kind of surround sound movie? I think you need the theater experience for that.
That's why James Bond has been pushed back.
What? What'd you say?
What'd you say?
I was saying that's why, like James Bond and all those big movies that you want to see on the big screen, they pushed back their release date because they really want you in the seats to hear it and see it that way.
There's a cinematic, like...
I think they saw what happened to that movie Tenet. It didn't do well, and it's an action.
It did terribly.
It's an action film, and it just didn't do well, and I think it would have been cool in the theater. So, yeah.
What's going on? There's a weird vibe.
I don't know.
Really weird
it's like someone's talking in the theater behind us.
Before we go to break, we got to give a shout out to Jon Batiste for winning, as we predicted, an Oscar for Best Original Score for the movie Soul. He was on the show on Friday, and we called it. Watch.
On Sunday, when we sit on our couch, we just talked to that dude on Friday, and he just won an Oscar.
You must check out the film Soul. It will just win an Oscar. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even joking. So I said on the show, like, on Sunday, we're going to be laying in our bed saying, I just talked to that guy. Exactly. I was laying in my bed. I'm like, Jordan, we just talked to this guy. In some weird way, I thought he was going to be like, on that show, Daily Blast Live, they talked to me.
I'd like to give them, they deserve some of this award for pushing me over the top.
I thought we were like, we had a bond.
You have more likelihood to win an Oscar than Jon Batiste mentioning us in an Oscar speech.
I don't know. He seemed like he had a good time.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
We do have a bit of his acceptance speech from last night. Have a look.
God gave us 12 notes. It's the same 12 notes Duke Ellington had, Bach had. It's the same 12, Nina Simone. I'm just thankful to God for those 12 notes, man. That's so dope.
Wow.
We could have went right in between Bach and Nina Simone.
Yes, we could have.
DBL.
And Jeff, don't forget where that Oscar is right now, what he said he's going to with it. Tell everybody.
He's going to put it in whose house?
His nephew.
His nephew's house in Louisiana?
Yep, his niece and nephew, so they can look at it and know that they can achieve anything.
That's awesome.
He's amazing.
It's on its way.
Congratulations. We predicted it. We're taking responsibility. Coming up on DBL, Tori and Stephanie take us inside Elton John's Oscars party and show us the moments you might have missed. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
The Verify team is here to get you the facts by taking your questions to the vetted experts. And with a new administration, there's new talk about D.C. statehood, an idea that's been around for generations. So let's verify. With Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the White House, is there a path to statehood with a simple majority? Our sources are the Senate rules, the Congressional Record, 51 for 51, an advocacy group, and Alan B. Morrison from the George Washington University Law School.
Do you think this is a real thing that could happen now?
Yeah. Morrison explains that in the Senate, you typically need 60 votes to pass a controversial bill. That's because of the filibuster. Any senator can demand a debate and essentially block a vote. Only 60 votes can stop the filibuster.
The Senate will be in order.
Then came this landmark vote in November 2013. Senate Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, used the so-called nuclear option for the first time. This eliminated the filibuster and made it a simple majority vote for nominees in the executive and the judiciary, except for in the case of the Supreme Court. 4 years later, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the nuclear option yet again, this time for the Supreme Court, requiring just a simple majority for nominations.
And that would be the same for statehood. They could simply change the filibuster rule and say the filibuster rule does not apply to applications for new states. They could do that in a stroke of the pen.
So we could verify that yes, the Senate can change the rules to get rid of the filibuster, allowing statehood with just 51 votes. But the question is, will they try to make such a change? Even some Democrats have come forward and said publicly that they're against this type of rule change.
There's no question they have the power to do it. The question is, do they have the will and the votes?
With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Yes, welcome back to DBL. That was Elton John and Dua Lipa at the Academy Awards pre-party. For the first time ever, Elton's annual charity event was open to fans who could join virtually. You might remember us talking about it last week. Well, here's what Tori thought of the idea. Wow, you can be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, and the whole point of that is exclusivity. Like, the whole point of the Elton John thing is no one can get in, but if the whole world's invited, what's so cool?
Well, lucky for Tori, we sent her with Stephanie Jones to the pre-party, so Steph joins us in studio. But we're going to start with the skeptic Tori. So, Tori, did you feel like a fly on the wall or no?
I didn't feel like a fly on the wall. I did have a good time. It was above my expectations, but I thought we were going to be on robots and we could go through Elton's house and like see his sunglasses room and like maybe meet someone cool and like get to be a fly on the wall that way. It was not at all like that. Not at all.
Go in his sunglasses room? Stephanie.
Yeah,
that would be
amazing.
That's what we all want. Steph, did you feel like a fly on the wall?
No, I felt like I was watching a really posh Zoom. You know?
What could they have done to make it more exclusive? What would you have done differently?
I just feel like it was all pre-recorded. I mean, we saw a global exclusive there. Elton John's never performed with Dua Lipa. She looked amazing. She was dripping in Fabergé diamonds, as you do, in Balenciaga. Gorgeous. Yeah, as you do, casual Sunday night. But yeah, I just felt like it was very posh, zoomy, and it was shot in the Rosewood Hotel, which is in London. Gorgeous hotel. So yeah, there wasn't really that intimate kind of vibe. It was just like, oh yeah, they're having a little rehearsal for something.
So what did you and Tori wear?
I will say,
and then go. Yes.
I wore pajamas, but I will say this really quickly is I didn't know Dua Lipa well, and that Benny and the Jets and her singing, I've added her to my playlist. I love her. Didn't know she was British because I have that good of a music taste.
And Steph, please tell me you wore something more than just pajamas.
Well, I wasn't sure if we were going to see other people, so I went all out and had like big sparkly earrings on and like a shiny top, and I brought my cat with me.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
I wasn't sure if he was going to go into some kind of open chat and like you could see other people, so I was too afraid to like not make the most of it.
I love that Steph is the belle of the ball with a cat on her shoulder.
Yeah. Well, there was like no one there, then I just literally was watching a pre-recorded thing, so whatever. Waste of time.
All right, thank you so much, Steph and Tori. We'll be right back.
Way to sell the segment, guys.
Hey, we're always honest here.
New research suggests getting too little sleep can increase your risk of dementia. Let's connect the dots. The link between poor sleep and dementia is nothing new, but what was not clear was whether that lack of sleep was a symptom of cognitive decline or one of the causes. Now, a large new study suggests that people who don't get enough shut-eye in their 50s and 60s are more likely to develop dementia later in life. The study was published in the journal Nature. It followed nearly 8,000 people for decades. Researchers found that people who regularly reported getting 6 hours or less of sleep on weeknights were close to 30% more likely to be diagnosed with dementia nearly 3 decades later. That's compared to people who reported getting 7 hours or more a night. So how can you catch more Z's? While doctors say sleeping pills are an okay temporary solution, they don't give you the deep sleep needed. Also, naps are okay, but also a sign you are not getting the shut-eye you need at night. Instead, keep a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed, and keep the phone and screens out of the bedroom.
Welcome back to DBL. There are so many benefits to exercise, including brain health. We're going to chat about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness, presented by QB. So a new study shows older adults who are active have better cognitive health. That includes memory, learning, and making everyday decisions. The study also found that anyone experiencing early stages of cognitive decline, like dementia, should be putting a focus on physical health. Staying active is so important, and QB has made it easy regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. It makes sense, right? If you're pumping the oxygen, the blood, blood carries oxygen, it's going to affect your brain health.
Yeah, staying active. I mean, my grandmother mowed her lawn until she was 90 years old.
What?
Yeah.
Little lawnmower like yours?
Mine actually embarrassing enough might be smaller than hers.
Tori, were you surprised by this?
Actually, I'm just reading a book on neurosurgery, which is really good, called When the Air Hits the Brain. And the brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can get better. It can heal itself. That's super rare. So I know that exercise really gets blood there, oxygen there, and the brain can get stronger and better. So why not?
I love Tori.
Yeah.
Like, who goes home at the end of the day and reads a book about neuroscience?
But then
who wears pajamas, Elton John's party?
Tori, I like that you read that book.
It's a really, really interesting book if you're interested in aging and the brain and science and nerds. That's what I'll recommend it for all you out there.
Love it.
I'm here for it.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
What do we know about the anti-COVID-19 drug Israel is developing? Our sources are the National Institutes of Health, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases specialist at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Nayor Barzev, also an infectious diseases expert from Johns Hopkins University. First, our experts say you need to understand how COVID-19 makes people sick. The virus gets into the body.
Our immune response starts to fight the virus and then causes a lot of collateral damage.
This out-of-control immune response can damage organs, and in more than 500,000 cases here in the United States, it's caused death. Enter Israel's new drug with the catchy name XO-CD24, a treatment that patients would just inhale.
The concept here is that we're using an immune modulator to dampen down some of the T cells that are responsible for the cytokine storm that we sometimes see in severe disease.
In other words, the new treatment, in theory, would calm down the immune system.
So our own immune response does not injure our own lungs and other organ systems.
So where is this drug? Researchers in Israel just completed the phase 1 trial with good results. They tested on moderate and severe cases, but...
So I think it's too early to say anything certain about it, but it's encouraging that we have a product that potentially can reduce disease severity, and that is going to be making its way through rigorous trials and evaluation.
So how could this drug potentially come to the United States? Our experts say it follows the same path we saw the vaccines follow, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and if those prove to be successful, that data will be sent here to the FDA for review. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
We got a lot of comments to end the show. Sue on Facebook says, it's funny how Broadway shows go on for years with no changes to the story, but movie remakes are expected to be different. That's profound. You're right. Jennifer says, what is the point of remaking a movie shot by shot? Steven Spielberg is a genius, but really, what is this purpose? Betty says, I'm going to be super disappointed if Spielberg doesn't change up West Side Story to make it more modern. Why even bother if he doesn't? I was told that there's a lot of different plot twists. So it shouldn't be shot by shot, maybe the cinematography, but not the plots. Veronica says that's John Batiste. Oh, that John Batiste is a snack. DBL should have him back on to talk about his win and see if he's available. Okay. And Fiona says, who shows up to a party, even if it's on Zoom, in PJs?
I know
Tori
someone.
think it was some sleepover Oscar party?
Okay, they were really nice pajamas, and I had done my hair and I had done my face, so I don't think that it categorized as like just a nothing shirt. It was a crisp, lined pajama set.
You know what I'd love to see? You know how Regina King walked in all fierce, like for the Oscars? I'd like to have a shot of Tori getting out of her Prius, like in her crazy giant big jacket and her crazy shoes, walking into DBL, like with
And
sunglasses
her
on.
mismatched socks.
Yeah, and just looking insane.
Yeah. Before we go, I have to thank a really sweet viewer, Barbara. I just received your cards, Barbara, from Tucson. There's a card for Eric, you guys. Eric, my brother-in-law, who's been in the hospital with COVID complications. For you to think of my brother-in-law, honestly, Barbara from Tucson, Arizona, you are the sweetest. You just made my day, and I can't wait to give it to Eric. Thank you. A quick goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. We'll see you guys later. DBL's new every day. Bye, guys.
Talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
This year's Oscar winners made history, but a surprise snub is what has everyone talking. Did the late Chadwick Boseman deserve to win Best Actor? Plus, Tyler Perry's powerful speech.
I would hope that we would refuse hate.
Daniel Kaluuya shocks his family with this hilarious on-stage moment.
My mom met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing.
Then, the return of the award show red carpet. We've got the best looks from the night, plus Hallie's new hairstyle. We're talking about it all. And this supporting actress winner steals the show.
Mr. Brad Pitt, finally. Nice to meet you.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
of Regina
You are
King's
not.
epic
You are not.
power
You are
walk
not.
at the Oscars last night in that jaw-dropping Louis Vuitton dress, by the way. Welcome to DBL. It is Monday, April 26th. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Tori joins us from home. That's not Tori. That's Lindsay Granger. I'm so sorry. I was just reading the teleprompter. I love. Hello, Lindsay Granger. Okay, so let's talk. Hey, let's talk about the Oscars. There were a bunch of big changes. It was shot like a movie. The speeches were much longer. And of course, there was a new venue. It was at a train station in downtown Los Angeles. So what did you all think? Did it work? Let me start with Lindsay, since I got your name wrong. Lindsay. And you know it wasn't intentional. So when you saw the Oscars last night, considering, I mean, we just showed you that intro with Regina King, right? It visually looked starkly different from all the other Oscars that we're familiar with.
Yeah, I thought it was like weird in a good way. So we had directors creating what we're looking at instead of like watching the classic Zoom videos that we've been watching over this whole award season. And I really, as somebody who's not a huge fan of award shows in general and definitely not over Zoom, thought this was really impressive. And they did the best with lemons that this pandemic has given us. So I was actually really impressed, and I liked especially the walk-in from Regina King. That was awesome.
I like the Lemons reference and the Regina King walk-in.
She was fierce.
I liked it. Was very Reservoir Dogs, very Pulp Fiction. You know, so I love that.
Cinematic.
I love the way he started. So I don't want to be like that artsy guy, but visually, I don't know if people appreciated how great that was shot at home. There was one specific one where they came like through a bush, and then you saw the presenter and then the crowd, and it was almost like you were backstage. So stylistically, Soderbergh knocked it out of the park. Some of those speeches got a little bit long for my liking, but overall I thought it was pretty cool, especially how they told like little stories about each person. I love anything behind the scenes.
What about without a host? I agree with everything else, or with everything now.
Wow.
Everyone's
What's
name.
going on down there, Frank?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I agree with everything that you just said, Jeff, minus the fact that I missed a host. I like to have a host. Am I wrong with that, Al?
And you can just call me what's his face. You know, honestly, Sam, I think that I'm hoping that, you know, I know Jeff said that the speeches went too long, and I'd agree with that, and a lot of people would. But I think that there's so many nuggets from here that we can take and use. And I want to see it shot like this. I like the movie aspect. I like the idea that everything kind of links together, because I think that even though they're competing movies, they all have similar origin stories in terms of like the people that were behind the camera and in front. I liked it like this, so I hope that we kind of keep this, and maybe even when we're back into a live audience situation, we keep the movie aspect. So I was here for it.
Me too. I didn't think I'd like it. I loved it. Okay, so but a lot of you were actually slamming last night's awards for what appeared to be a huge snub. In case you missed it, let me set it up for you, okay? So for the first time ever, the order of the awards were changed, and the last award of the night was for Best Actor. So a lot of you thought, and you hoped, that Chadwick Boseman was going to win a posthumous award for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. His win would have ended the show with an emotional speech by his widow, but instead, Anthony Hopkins won for The Father, and he wasn't even present to give a speech. This morning, he posted one to Instagram, though. Take a look.
At 83 years of age, I did not expect to get this award. I really didn't. I want to pay tribute to Chadwick Boseman, who was taken from us far too early. And again, thank you all very much. I really did not expect this. So I feel very privileged and honored. Thank you.
What a class act, Lindsay. It was the birds chirping in the background for me. That's what did it. But you know, so many people, Lindsay, are slamming him for not showing up. He's 83 years old. Does he really have to show up? We're in the middle of a pandemic. What did you think about that, Lindsay?
Yeah, I totally understand why he wouldn't want to show up. I think it's an option right now, and a lot of people are even saying that award shows happening in person is problematic for so many people that are struggling through this COVID pandemic. But I do think that it's interesting because, you know, on the one hand, every award show that we've seen, for the most part, honoring films and TV, has honored Chadwick Boseman in some way. And so since the Oscars didn't, people were really bashing it and really upset. But I do think that they have to stick to whatever they thought was the best movie. And even as a huge Chadwick Boseman fan, I don't don't know that I thought that was his best film ever. And I haven't seen all the other films on the roster, but you know, a lot of people said he should have got the award just because he passed. And although I love him so much, you know, it's just like they had to do whatever they chose to do in voting. And so I don't agree with the sentiment of just giving him the award because he passed, because he's a phenomenal actor that should have won an award many times prior to this.
Well said, Lindsay. Okay, so a lot of people were also commenting that last night was the most woke Oscars ever. A lot of the presenters and award winners, including Regina King, the singer Her, and the filmmakers for Two Distant Strangers, brought up social justice issues, specifically police brutality and Derek Chauvin. Plus, there were a lot of historic firsts. Chloe Zhao became the first woman of color to win Best Director and just the second woman to win the award. That was, of course, for the movie No Man's Land, which was Best Picture. Mia Neal and Jamaica Wilson became the first ever black stylists to win for Best Makeup and Styling for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. And Ya Jung-Eun became the second Asian woman and the first ever Korean to win an acting prize. She won Best Supporting Actor in Minari. So here's the question, DBL Nation. We want to hear from you. We always do. Oscars so white. You guys remember that hashtag, right? It was a thing in 2015. Does this year's award, in your opinion, prove, this year's award show, prove how far we've come? Does it feel like things have gotten better? Al, is there progress here?
I mean, I think the list of names that you just read tells us that it has. I think that it's so weird that we push for a change and we push for things to progress, and people listen, people agree, and it starts to happen, and we see it with the list you just read, and we still question, well, why is this happening? It's like, no, a lot of people feel like this. A lot of people feel like we should start to highlight everybody, no matter what your gender, how you identify. And so I'm here for it. I'm really happy with how things are going.
I love the inclusivity because it gives kids at home something to look at, right? It's like, that could be me one day. Even, I'm 42 years old, I still dream, right? And I look at those presenters, just like you're reading those names, Sam, I thought of last night, I'm like, I could give those presentations one day. And then they started reading some of those names, I'm like, maybe I can't. I could always dream. I could always dream. So it gives other people from everywhere something to look at and dream about.
Representation does matter, but I have to ask you, you're in, because I know you write down goals every year. You want an Oscar one day?
I mean, I wouldn't shoo it away. Yeah, it would take one.
Really hard-hitting question, Sam. Hit him in the corner there.
Do you want $1 million? Yes or no? Be honest.
Who doesn't? I think a lot of our viewers know that Jeff is an actor. I'm not an actor.
Because he won't tell anybody.
Okay, gotta go. Coming up on DBL, more Oscars talk. Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner join us to break down the night's biggest moments. Plus, we can't skip the red carpet style. It's actually a pink carpet. Stephanie Jones will join us with a fashion recap. And Tyler Perry gets mixed reviews. Why his speech, meant to unify, may have actually caused more division.
Closed captioning provided by
The Verify team is here to get you the facts by taking your questions to the vetted experts. And with a new administration, there's new talk about DC statehood, an idea that's been around for generations. So let's verify. With Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the White House, is there a path to statehood with a simple majority? Our sources are the Senate rules, the Congressional Record, 51 for 51, an advocacy group, and Alan B. Morrison from the George Washington University Law School.
Do you think this is a real thing that could happen now?
Yeah.
Morrison explains that in the Senate, you typically need 60 votes to pass a controversial bill. That's because of the filibuster. Any senator can demand a debate and essentially block a vote. Only 60 votes can stop the filibuster.
The Senate will be in order.
Then came this landmark vote in November 2013. Senate Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, used the so-called nuclear option for the first time. This eliminated the filibuster and made it a simple majority vote for nominees in the executive and the judiciary, except for in the case of the Supreme Court. 4 years later, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the nuclear option yet again, this time for the Supreme Court, requiring just a simple majority for nominations.
And that would be the same for statehood. They could simply change the filibuster rule and say the filibuster rule does not apply to applications for new states. They could do that in a stroke of the pen.
So we could verify that yes, the Senate can change the rules to get rid of the filibuster, allowing statehood with just 51 votes. But the question is, will they try to make such a change? Even some Democrats have come forward and said publicly that they're against this type of rule change.
There's no question they have the power to do it. The question is, do they have the will and the votes?
With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. There was another moment at last night's Oscar Awards that's got a lot of you talking. I'm reading your comments. Tyler Perry was awarded a humanitarian award, and his acceptance speech called on everyone to refuse hate. Take a listen.
How can I hate you when I had a mother who grew up in a Jim Crow South in Louisiana? My mother taught me to refuse hate. She taught me to refuse blanket judgment. And in this time, and with all of the internet and social media and algorithms and everything that wants us to think a certain way, the 24-hour news cycle, it is my hope that all of us would teach our kids, and not only to remember, just refuse hate.
But there was one part of his speech that lit up Twitter while mentioning a number of groups that have been disenfranchised. He also brought up the police. Here's what he said.
I refuse to hate someone because they are Mexican or because they are black or white or LGBTQ. I refuse to hate someone because they are a police officer. I refuse to hate someone because they are Asian.
So one person on Twitter said, quote, Tyler Perry slipped being a police officer in there with race, gender, and sexuality. At this time, truly an embarrassment and disrespectful to the movement in this country, but also telling clearly where he aligns. Okay, Lindsay, what did you make of his speech? Should he have brought up police officers or not?
I think Tyler Perry's actions speak louder than this one speech. I think overall he has done so much to uplift communities of color, but it is like striking when he talks about pairing Blue Lives Matter or even police in the conversation with some oppressed groups, because historically the police are not an oppressed groups. They're not actually a one group of person. Like a lot of different people are police officers. A lot of people that support Black Lives Matter have police officers like myself in their family that they love. And so I think even bringing this up in the conversation, you know, it doesn't make sense that it probably hit a chord with a lot of people, because police officers are not the ones that are technically in danger constantly when their lives are on the line, and the ones that are protected the most when it comes down to justice in this country. So it was a tough thing for him to say, and I think that he maybe just misspoke.
Yeah, you know, Jeff, I want to hear what you have to say. That's how I look at it. You have to look at the total body of work of a human being.
And you've interviewed him quite a few times.
We, as a show, have interviewed him a couple times, Sammy, and it was when he goes every Christmas and clears out an entire section of layaway in Walmart, in Target for families that can't afford it and are in need. He has a compound where he shoots dozens of movies at one time, employing so many women, so many people of color. And I honestly believe, Jeff, that we just missed the context of what he was saying. Did he present it in a ham-handed way that I understand angered people? Absolutely. But do I think that he was saying that he's pro-police brutality? I didn't take that at all. I just thought he said make sure that you analyze everybody that comes in your life and don't put a blanket over everybody.
Yeah, I don't think I misinterpreted it. Or at least the way I interpreted it was the best speech of the night. This was my favorite moment of the night. Tyler Perry's an inspiration to me, to millions. He walks the walk, just like that you were saying. I looked at it, he said meet in the middle. Whether you're black, brown, police officer, whatever you are, let's meet in the middle, because there's problems going on in this country where we need to bring these conversations like we do at this very table on a daily basis and have those. That's what I got from his speech. Everybody meeting in the middle and becoming a better person. That's what I saw from it. Yeah. So I enjoyed it.
Good conversation, guys. Coming up on DBL, the winners of the Oscars red carpet. Stephanie Jones will show us the looks that are getting all the buzz. And Glenn Close loses again, but her dance moves, they were a big hit. Go Glenn. Go Glenn. The twerk everyone's talking about later on DBL.
New research suggests getting too little sleep can increase your risk of dementia. Let's connect the dots. The link between poor sleep and dementia is nothing new, but what was not clear was whether that lack of sleep was a symptom of cognitive decline or one of the causes. Now, a large new study suggests that people who don't get enough shut-eye in their 50s and 60s are more likely to develop dementia later in life. The study was published in the journal Nature. It followed nearly 8,000 people for decades. Researchers found that people who regularly reported getting 6 hours or less of sleep on weeknights were close to 30% more likely to be diagnosed with dementia nearly 3 decades later. That's compared to people who reported getting 7 hours or more a night. So how can you catch more Z's? While doctors say sleeping pills are an okay temporary solution, they don't give you the deep sleep needed. Also, naps are okay, but also a sign you are not getting the shut-eye you need at night. Instead, keep a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed, and keep the phone and screens out of the bedroom.
Welcome back to DBL. Last night marked the 93rd Academy Awards, and earlier Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner joined Tori, Jeff, and Al for a recap of the most memorable moments. Take a look.
And joining us for a behind-the-scenes take is none other than friends with the show Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier and new co-host Mazel Tov, Nichelle Turner.
Congrats.
Welcome back, Kevin, and congratulations, Nichelle. Now, Kevin, this year's Academy Award was unlike any other, and I just want to know your overall impression. Did you love it? Did you hate it? It was very Steven Soderbergh. Talk to me.
We are hoping that this is the end. This is the last pandemic award show.
Please.
Please.
Seriously.
Because we need to get back to normal.
Right.
Y'all, get your vaccination, wear your mask. We want to get back to the red carpet.
We definitely do. I mean, you know, we love, it's the pageantry of it all is never lost on us, and especially that night at the Oscars. And so it did feel a little lackluster last night. However, may I say that when Regina King strutted on in there at the beginning, I loved it.
Me too.
I loved it. She was in that blue Louis Vuitton with the sequins,
with the
and she
shoulders.
was walking, honey. She was. Yes, let me see you walk, Regina. And then she almost took a tumble, but she recovered. She did. And then we had the show. Now, there were some moments in the show, right?
Yes.
I mean, there were a few moments in there that captured our attention at least.
Well,
and,
you want to start with the end and work our way back?
Okay, well, let's start with the end.
Okay.
Because the end was something that was unexpected. They shuffled the deck, and they put the Best Actor award last instead of Best Picture.
Yeah.
Everybody thought that Chadwick Boseman was going to win that award. And when Joaquin Phoenix opened up the envelope and he said, Anthony Hopkins,
oh my gosh.
and then he said, Anthony Hopkins isn't here because Anthony Hopkins was in Wales.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya was amazing in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Best movie of the year in my estimation.
Amazing movie.
When he won the Oscar, he just kind of went right or left.
Listen, he gave us the moment. He had a passion speech. It was really great. He was so excited. And then he decided to talk about the birds and the bees.
Please watch. Just watch.
Like, it's incredible. My mom met my dad. They had sex. It's amazing. Like, do you understand? I'm here. You know what I mean? So, I'm so happy to be alive. So I'm going to celebrate that tonight.
Daniel, have you had a chance to talk to your mom yet? Has she texted you yet?
Bro. No, I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit, mate. Trust me. I'm going to avoid my phone for a bit. I think my mum's not going to be very happy.
What does this mean to you, and what...
I got to give him a question. Like, he didn't really have... let him have another one, man.
Thank you. Hey, have you had a... what does this mean
I can't hear you, bro.
Can you hear me now?
He's muted. Can you unmute him? Yeah, but I tried, bro.
I appreciate you.
It's the enemy of progress, bro. I'm trying, bro.
That moment is the entire 2021 award season in one interview.
So
that was
bad.
it. That tells you everything you need to know.
Can you hear me now? Can't hear you, bro. Can you hear me now?
Let's talk a little about diversity.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it was represented yesterday? Because in the past, the Academy has been criticized. What'd you think of last night's show as far as diversity goes?
I thought what was important is not the big categories, but the smaller one. Live action, documentary, documentary,
Hair and
Trayvon
makeup.
Free,
Yeah.
Hair and Makeup, you saw the first two African-American women to win in that category in history. 33% of the voting members are now women, 19% are underrepresented community. So it is changing slowly but surely.
Do you have a favorite moment of the night?
Oh, please tell us. Yeah.
Glenn Close didn't win an Oscar, but Glenn Close got an invitation to the barbecue. And that is because Glenn Close laid it all on the table. She gave a shout out to Sugar Bear, and she got up and did the butt. It was beautiful. Take a look at this moment.
I said, come in, big girl, let's rock my world. Show that. Hey. Okay, stop. That's not fair to Glenn Close. She don't know nothing about
Wait
doing
a second,
it.
wait a second. Wait a second, I know, that's the butt.
Do you know the dance, though? Do you know how to do the butt? Quest, turn it up.
Oh, I don't.
Come on, let's see it. Let me see you do the butt. Let's see it.
Now, it was a skit. It was a skit that was planned,
Yes.
but they
The
didn't
dance
plan the
wasn't.
dancing.
No.
The dance was not planned. And I think that skit proved one thing that was very important. What, Nichelle Turner?
We need a host of the show.
I know what you mean.
They need to have a host.
I totally know what you mean. And at first I was like, wow, Glenn Close knows a lot about debut. And then I was like, wait, this is totally scripted. I totally agree with you.
I'm sorry, you guys. I have to push back on all four of y'all right now, okay? I never thought coming up, going to college in the mid-'90s, that I would hear DC Go-Go, EU, debut at the Oscars. Like, come on, guys. You have to be, like, I was just so happy to see this music be played. Also, Glenn Close, she definitely dated two black dudes in college. She did. It wasn't a long time. It was
Let me
a
say,
spring
I
break.
just want to say this. As somebody who went to the Capitol Center to see EU and Rare Essence and Trouble Funk before back in the day, it just made me happy. I was giddy. I was giddy.
It was amazing.
Little Benny and the Masters.
Yes.
He said she dated not one, but two.
Two black.
Two, and she's invited to the cookout. Well, Kevin Frazier.
They're gonna call her tonight. They called her tonight.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Kevin Frazier and Nichelle Turner, thank you so much for joining us today. And don't miss Kevin and Nichelle every night on Entertainment Tonight. Great friends of the show.
Guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We always love joining
We'll be
y'all.
right back.
y'all.
Bye,
Always
guys.
love joining y'all.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
What do we know about the anti-COVID-19 drug Israel is developing? Our sources are the National Institutes of Health, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases specialist at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Nayor Barzev, also an infectious diseases expert from Johns Hopkins University. First, our experts say you need to understand how COVID-19 makes people sick. The virus gets into the body.
Our immune response starts to fight the virus and then causes a lot of collateral damage.
This out-of-control immune response can damage organs, and in more than 500,000 cases here in the United States, it's caused death. Enter Israel's new drug with the catchy name XO-CD24, a treatment that patients would just inhale.
The concept here is that we're using an immune modulator to dampen down some of the T cells that are responsible for the cytokine storm that we sometimes see in severe disease.
In other words, the new treatment in theory would calm down the immune system.
So our own immune response does not injure our own lungs and other organ systems.
So where is this drug? Researchers in Israel just completed the phase 1 trial with good results. They tested on moderate and severe cases, but...
So I think it's too early to say anything certain about it, but it's encouraging that we have a product that potentially can reduce disease severity, and that is going to be making its way through rigorous trials and evaluation.
So how could this drug potentially come to the United States? Our experts say it follows the same path we saw the vaccines follow, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and if those prove to be successful, that data will be sent here to the FDA for review. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Okay, lots about the Oscars. Serena says Anthony Hopkins didn't have to show up. He's definitely paid his dues. And oh yeah, there is still a pandemic. Owen on Facebook says the whole show was politically motivated. Did you guys feel that way?
No, I think we got to just accept the fact that they're going to incorporate some of that, right? And people, you watch for whatever you want, your entertainment value or what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show on Facebook or YouTube, chat with other viewers, leave your comments and be a part of our DBL Nation. But if you are sticking around,
I'm sticking around.
What's coming up? Elton John's iconic Oscars party goes virtual, and our very own Tori Shulman and Stephanie Jones were there. Plus, legendary actress Glenn Close steals the show with her Miley-inspired dance moves. And a big thank you to our co-workers watching from home right now. We miss you guys. DBL's new every day. We will be right back.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
Let's see it. Let me see you do the butt. Let's see it.
Yeah, we just can't get enough of Glenn Close twerking to debut at the Oscars last night. I'm Sam here with Jeff and Al. Lindsay, Tori joins us from home.
Sam, you are a pro because they keep switching the whole
I thought I self-edited the prompter.
There you go.
Okay, so Glenn Close's twerking, hi Tori, wasn't the only Oscars moment that got our attention. Everyone is talking about how Minari actress Ye-Jung Yoon flirted with Brad Pitt after winning Best Supporting Actress. Take a look.
Mr. Brad Pitt, finally. Nice to meet you. Where were you while we were filming in Tulsa? It's very honored to meet you.
Oh my gosh, Tori, what did you think about the flirting?
I thought she brought the whole show to another little level of humor. There weren't any musical acts, so I wanted some type of humor. There wasn't a host, so I thought she was excellent. If you do want to know, they later met backstage and took some pictures together, and I just think Ye-Jung Yoon made everyone laugh. If you listen to her BAFTA speech, she also makes people laugh. So if you want a good speech writer, hire her.
Tori, could you get more things in the background of your shot? Did you see how, look at, like, that looks like a room in an auntie's house. There should be some golf clubs, some old suits, a vacuum cleaner they need to get fixed. I love you so much. I'm sorry.
I just ripped you on national television. I love you, though.
Tori, I love your home. Okay. All right. We also saw an official return to the red carpet, although it was pink at the Oscars. Stephanie Jones is here to break down some of the more unique looks of the night. So, Steph, what did you think?
Okay, well, Sam, like you just said, there was a return to that old school glamour on the red carpet. So we saw stars like Viola Davis, Zendaya, Regina King, and Amanda Seyfried. They really brought their A game when it came to style. But some of the biggest Oscar winners of the night, well, they chose comfort over glamour. So Best Director winner Chloe Zhao wore a long, neutral tone dress and looked radiant without a touch of makeup. But it's her white trainers, or sneakers, as you guys would say, that really made a statement. And then the Best Actress winner, Frances McDormand, always shows off her low-key style at award shows. And again, she ditched the makeup for a natural look. And Halle Berry, also in for a softer look with her makeup and her mauve-toned strapless dress. But everyone's talking about her hair. A choppy bob with short bangs. And then speaking of hair, Brad Pitt is letting his hair grow out. He was seen with a little man bun at the back of his head. And while we're talking about the men, the look of the night has to go to Lakeith Stanfield for his custom-made jumpsuit with that 70s-inspired belt and wide collar. So I need to know, what did you guys think of these looks?
I agree with everything you said, Steph, but given that you're our fashionista, I gotta hear from you.
Yeah.
What did you think of gorgeous Halle Berry and her haircut?
Okay, like you said, she's gorgeous. There's no denying it. The dress was spectacular. The hair? Oh, it kind of killed my soul.
Me too. I wasn't a fan of it. But I wasn't a fan of Brad Pitt's either, Steph. I wasn't a fan of either. What did you think?
Listen, Halle Berry's beautiful. You have to put that before anything. I don't mind someone going for it, right? Right. But in this case, she looked like Lloyd Christmas.
Yeah, it was. That was.
From Dumb and Dumber.
It was not a hit. But Jeff, I appreciate what you said, and Steph, this is why I love your fashion roundups, is because you highlight the extremes, and when you're on the extremes, you're gonna go over a little bit, but somebody's got to push you. We all can't wear khakis and look like we just stepped out of a Land's End catalog. Somebody's got to like push the fashion. I love it.
She could wear anything, and she always looks good, you know, and that dress was spectacular. But I just hope that that was a wig, because I'm not sure about the little fringe. It looks as though like she hacked at it with the scissors.
It may have been for a role, you know. She could have came from shooting a movie.
You don't think that was a wig? Do you think that was her hair, or do you think that was a wig?
I think it was for a role. I think it was for a role.
Sam, I have a very important question to ask Steph. Please tell me, and please give me some good news. The Lakeith Stanfield's jumpers outfit, is that coming out for regular dudes? Because I know for a fact my brother Jeff liked it. I dug it, and I want to know, could we, first of all, do you think it's coming back, and could we pull it off?
I think it's coming back.
It's coming back,
what I'm going to say.
I don't know if we could pull that off.
Steph, I love the look, but there's no way Al and Jeff are going to wear that.
I just tried to avoid that.
First of all,
there's no way you two are showing up here in that outfit and without lots of people commenting.
I would bet that Al actually would, you know.
If me and Al walked into a club in our prime time wearing that, ladies would be turning on the chair.
Now they just keep turning.
Now they turn the other way in disgust.
But yeah, I want to see it. I'm here for it.
Before we let you go, if you had to pick one look for the night, who stole the show? Who stole it?
Oh gosh, Regina King in that opening, that power walk, the Louis Vuitton that took over 140 hours to make. It had something like 69,000 crystals and sequins. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I
Stunning.
agree. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, so during the Oscars, you may have noticed a sneak peek at Steven Spielberg's revival of the classic 1961 film West Side Story. Here's a look. Wow, did you guys catch that? Yep, Rita Moreno is appearing in the new film as Valentina. She famously won an Oscar for her role as Anita in the original. She also was the first Latina actress to win an Oscar. And if you remember, a few years ago, she came out with a huge article pretty much slamming or just saying how uncomfortable she was with the original West Side Story and how everybody had to wear brown makeup. Natalie Wood was in brown face. All these other, even her, even though she's Puerto Rican, she said that they made sure that her makeup was a darker shade of pigment than her natural one. So she's so happy that Steven Spielberg has made this a lot more inclusive and diverse because it didn't sit well with her looking back at how so many white actors wore brown face.
I wonder how they're going to tweak that. That's one thing that they're going to tweak. I wonder other things. So when you think back to the 60s, there might have been some dialogue, there might have been some action, you know, that they're going to have to tweak from the original, right? So interesting to see how Steven's going to do that.
I can't wait. Are you so excited? I'm so excited.
I don't know if I'm so excited.
Why not?
I'm not going to see the West Side Story, Sam.
Well, it's on Disney Plus.
I don't even know where that is.
On your remote.
Yeah, I'm not on that. Does it say ESPN? Does it say HBO?
It actually has a button on your remote that you click, Disney Plus.
Okay.
And ESPN owns Disney Plus too.
Okay, well, I'm wrong. I will not be watching that. No, but you know what? I think it's cool that we can reboot a story, and like Jess said, I do want to see the tweaks because you can make it more modern, but keep the storyline, which is like really what life is people that are technically from other sides of the tracks, but have mostly similarities. You just kind of look a little different, or maybe, you know, live in a different part of town, but I love it. I'm here for it.
Tori, are you here for it? Are you going to watch it with me?
First of all, I love West Side Story, and Al, you'd really enjoy it. It's a really great piece of movie iconic. I can't speak today. Secondly, I'll say this. I can't. Okay, so Spielberg, though, if you look carefully, it looks like he almost recreated the scene, like scene by scene, exactly the way we had it back in the day. So it's not going to look drastically different. That might make people happy, that might make people upset, but he is stuck to the original very, very strongly. Again, as Sam said, there's no Natalie Wood in brown face, so that's a huge plus. And I think it'll be a little bit less stylized, but I'm super interested. But if it's just scene by scene, the exact same thing, I don't know why we need it, because I love the original, but we'll hear what people say.
How crazy that it's going to be streamed. Like, we are definitely in a whole new era. Maybe I'm late to the game, but I'm used to seeing a Steven Spielberg film, something like a West Side Story reboot in the theaters. And to know that I can be on my couch and I can stream it, is that not bizarre to you?
I mean, I think it's a lot of what I can't have, right? Now that I can't go to the theater, I'm really missing the movie theater. Right. But it's so convenient just to watch it at home. Theaters are starting to make a little bit of a comeback. There's some buzz going around. So
there's some buzz going around.
Some buzz going around in the neighborhood about theaters making a comeback.
Goes to the cinema.
I love the theater. I love it. I love going there. I love going there as a kid, and I miss that, right? You miss a lot of the
Let me ask you guys this about the theater. Like, do you need to go there, especially when there's a movie like this with a soundtrack, to hear the music as it was meant to not come through your television speakers, but kind of surround sound movie? I think you need the theater experience for that.
That's why James Bond has been pushed back.
What? What'd you say?
What'd you say?
I was saying that's why, like James Bond and all those big movies that you want to see on the big screen, they pushed back their release date because they really want you in the seats to hear it and see it that way.
There's a cinematic, like...
I think they saw what happened to that movie Tenet. It didn't do well, and it's an action.
It did terribly.
It's an action film, and it just didn't do well, and I think it would have been cool in the theater. So, yeah.
What's going on? There's a weird vibe.
I don't know.
Really weird. It's like someone's talking in the theater behind us.
Before we go to break, we got to give a shout out to Jon Batiste for winning, as we predicted, an Oscar for Best Original Score for the movie Soul. He was on the show on Friday, and we called it. Watch.
On Sunday, when we sit on our couch, we just talked to that dude on Friday, and he just won an Oscar.
You must check out the film Soul. It will just win an Oscar. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even joking. So I said on the show, like, on Sunday, we're going to be laying in our bed saying, I just talked to that guy. Exactly. I was laying in my bed. I'm like, Jordan, we just talked to this guy. In some weird way, I thought he was going to be like, you know, on that show, Daily Blast Live, you know, they talked to
I'd like to give them... they deserve some of this award for pushing me over the top.
I thought we were like, we had a bond.
You have more likelihood to win an Oscar than Jon Batiste mentioning us in an Oscar speech.
I don't know. He seemed like he had a good time.
Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
We do have a bit of his acceptance speech from last night. Have a look.
God gave us 12 notes. It's the same 12 notes Duke Ellington had, Bach had. It's the same 12, Nina Simone. I'm just thankful to God for those 12 notes, man. That's so dope.
Wow.
We could have went right in between Bach and Nina Simone.
Yes, we could have.
DBL.
DBL.
And Jeff, don't forget where that Oscar is right now, what he said he's going to do with it. Tell everybody.
He's going to put it in whose house?
His nephew.
His nephew's house in Louisiana?
Yep, his niece and nephew, so they can look at it and know that they can achieve anything.
That's awesome.
He's amazing.
It's on its way.
Congratulations. We predicted it. We're taking responsibility. Coming up on DBL, Tori and Stephanie take us inside Elton John's Oscars party and show us the moments you might have missed. We'll be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
The Verify team is here to get you the facts by taking your questions to the vetted experts. And with a new administration, there's new talk about DC statehood, an idea that's been around for generations. So let's verify. With Democratic control in the House, the Senate, and the White House, is there a path to statehood with a simple majority? Our sources are the Senate rules, the Congressional Record, 51 for 51, an advocacy group, and Alan B. Morrison from the George Washington University Law School.
Do you think this is a real thing that could happen now?
Yeah. Morrison explains that in the Senate, you typically need 60 votes to pass a controversial bill. That's because of the filibuster. Any senator can demand a debate and essentially block a vote. Only 60 votes can stop the filibuster.
The Senate will be in order.
Then came this landmark vote in November 2013. Senate Democrats, led by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, used the so-called nuclear option for the first time. This eliminated the filibuster and made it a simple majority vote for nominees in the executive and the judiciary, except for in the case of the Supreme Court. 4 years later, Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell used the nuclear option yet again, this time for the Supreme Court, requiring just a simple majority for nominations.
And that would be the same for statehood. They could simply change the filibuster rule and say the filibuster rule does not apply to applications for new states. They could do that in a stroke of the pen.
So we could verify that yes, the Senate can change the rules to get rid of the filibuster, allowing statehood with just 51 votes. But the question is, will they try to make such a change? Even some Democrats have come forward and said publicly that they're against this type of rule change.
There's no question they have the power to do it. The question is, do they have the will and the votes?
With your Verify, this is Evan Kozlov.
Yes, welcome back to DBL. That was Elton John and Dua Lipa at the Academy Awards pre-party. For the first time ever, Elton's annual charity event was open to fans who could join virtually. You might remember us talking about it last week. Well, here's what Tori thought of the idea. Wow, you can be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, and the whole point of that is exclusivity. Like, the whole point of the Elton John thing is no one can get in, but if the whole world's invited, what's so cool?
Well, lucky for Tori, we sent her with Stephanie Jones to the pre-party, so Steph joins us in studio. But we're going to start with the skeptic Tori. So, Tori, did you feel like a fly on the wall or no?
I didn't feel like a fly on the wall. I did have a good time. It was above my expectations, but I thought we were going to be on robots and we could go through Elton's house and like see his sunglasses room and like maybe meet someone cool and like get to be a fly on the wall that way. It was not at all like that. Not at all.
Go in his sunglasses room? Stephanie,
yeah,
that would be
amazing.
That's what we all want. Steph, did you feel like a fly on the wall?
No, I felt like I was watching a really posh Zoom. You know?
What could they have done to make it more exclusive? What would you have done differently?
I just feel like it was all pre-recorded. I mean, we saw a global exclusive there. Elton John's never performed with Dua Lipa. She looked amazing. She was dripping in Fabergé diamonds, as you do, and Balenciaga. Gorgeous. Yeah, as you do, casual Sunday night. But yeah, I just felt like it was very posh Zoomy, and it was shot in the Rosewood Hotel, which is in London, gorgeous hotel. So yeah, there wasn't really that intimate kind of vibe. It was just like, oh yeah, they're having a little rehearsal for something.
So what did you and Tori
But
wear?
I will say,
and then go. Yes.
I wore pajamas, but I will say this really quickly is I didn't know Dua Lipa well, and that Benny and the Jets and her singing, I've added her to my playlist. I love her. Didn't know she was British because I have that good of a music taste.
And Steph, please tell me you wore something more than just pajamas.
Well, I wasn't sure if we were going to see other people, so I went all out and had like big sparkly earrings on and like a shiny top, and I brought my cat with me.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
I wasn't sure if he was going to go into some kind of open chat and like you could see other people, so I was too afraid to like not make the most of it.
I love that Steph is the belle of the ball with a cat on her shoulder.
Yeah. Well, there was like no one there, then I just literally was watching a pre-recorded thing, so whatever. Waste of time.
All right, thank you so much, Steph and Tori. We'll be right back.
Way to sell the segment, guys.
Hey, we're always honest here.
New research suggests getting too little sleep can increase your risk of dementia. Let's connect the dots. The link between poor sleep and dementia is nothing new, but what was not clear was whether that lack of sleep was a symptom of cognitive decline or one of the causes. Now, a large new study suggests that people who don't get enough shut-eye in their 50s and 60s are more likely to develop dementia later in life. The study was published in the journal Nature. It followed nearly 8,000 people for decades. Researchers found that people who regularly reported getting 6 hours or less of sleep on weeknights were close to 30% more likely to be diagnosed with dementia nearly 3 decades later. That's compared to people who reported getting 7 hours or more a night. So how can you catch more Z's? While doctors say sleeping pills are an okay temporary solution, they don't give you the deep sleep needed. Also, naps are okay, but also a sign you are not getting the shut-eye you need at night. Instead, keep a regular sleep schedule, avoid caffeine and alcohol before bed, and keep the phone and screens out of the bedroom.
DBL, there are so many benefits to exercise, including brain health. We're going to chat about it in DBL's Focus on Fitness, presented by QB. So a new study shows older adults who are active have better cognitive health. That includes memory, learning, and making everyday decisions. The study also found that anyone experiencing early stages of cognitive decline, like dementia, should be putting a focus on physical health. Staying active is so important, and QB has made it easy regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn more. It makes sense, right? If you're pumping the oxygen, the blood, blood carries oxygen, it's going to affect your brain health.
Yeah, staying active. I mean, my grandmother mowed her lawn until she was 90 years old.
What?
Yeah.
Little lawnmower like yours?
Mine actually embarrassing enough might be smaller than hers.
Tori, were you surprised by this?
Actually, I'm just reading a book on neurosurgery, which is really good, called When the Air Hits the Brain. And the brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can get better. It can heal itself. That's super rare. So I know that exercise really gets blood there, oxygen there, and the brain can get stronger and better. So why not?
I love Tori.
Yeah.
Like, who goes home at the end of the day and reads a book about neuroscience?
But then
who wears pajamas, Elton John's party?
Tori, I like that you read that book.
It's a really, really interesting book if you're interested in aging and the brain and science and nerds. That's what I'll recommend it for all you out there.
Love it.
I'm here for it.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
What do we know about the anti-COVID-19 drug Israel is developing? Our sources are the National Institutes of Health, Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious diseases specialist at Vanderbilt University, and Dr. Nayor Barzev, also an infectious diseases expert from Johns Hopkins University. First, our experts say you need to understand how COVID-19 makes people sick. The virus gets into the body.
Our immune response starts to fight the virus and then causes a lot of collateral damage.
This out-of-control immune response can damage organs, and in more than 500,000 cases here in the United States, it's caused death. Enter Israel's new drug with the catchy name XO-CD24, a treatment that patients would just inhale.
The concept here is that we're using an immune modulator to dampen down some of the T cells that are responsible for the cytokine storm that we sometimes see in severe disease.
In other words, the new treatment in theory would calm down the immune system.
So our own immune response does not injure our own lungs and other organ systems.
So where is this drug? Researchers in Israel just completed the phase 1 trial with good results. They tested on moderate and severe cases, but...
So I think it's too early to say anything certain about it, but it's encouraging that we have a product that potentially can reduce disease severity, and that is going to be making its way through rigorous trials and evaluation.
So how could this drug potentially come to the United States? Our experts say it follows the same path we saw the vaccines follow, the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 clinical trials, and if those prove to be successful, that data will be sent here to the FDA for review. With your Verify, I'm Matt Gregory.
We got a lot of comments to end the show. Sue on Facebook says, it's funny how Broadway shows go on for years with no changes to the story, but movie remakes are expected to be different. That's profound. You're right. Jennifer says, what is the point of remaking a movie shot by shot? Steven Spielberg is a genius, but really, what is this purpose? Betty says, I'm going to be super disappointed if Spielberg doesn't change up West Side Story to make it more modern. Why even bother if he doesn't? I was told that there's a lot of different plot twists. So it shouldn't be shot by shot, maybe the cinematography, but not the plots. Veronica says that's John Batiste. Oh, that John Batiste is a snack. DBL should have him back on to talk about his win and see if he's available. Okay. And Fiona says, who shows up to a party, even if it's on Zoom, in PJs?
I know someone.
Did Tori think it was some sleepover Oscar party?
Okay, they were really nice pajamas, and I had done my hair and I had done my face, so I don't think that it categorized as like just a nothing shirt. It was a crisp, lined pajama set.
You know what I'd love to see? You know how Regina King walked in all fierce, like for the Oscars? I'd like to have a shot of Tori getting out of her Prius, like in her crazy giant big jacket and her crazy shoes, walking into DBL, like with
And
sunglasses
her
on.
mismatched socks.
Yeah, and just looking insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we go, I have to thank a really sweet viewer, Barbara. I just received your cards, Barbara, from Tucson. There's a card for Eric, you guys. Eric, my brother-in-law, who's been in the hospital with COVID complications. For you to think of my brother-in-law, honestly, Barbara from Tucson, Arizona, you are the sweetest. You just made my day, and I can't wait to give it to Eric. Thank you. A quick goodbye to our coworkers who tuned in from home. We'll see you guys later. DBL's new every day. Bye, guys.
Thank you.